Ladies and gentlemen, we're back for the second week of the NFL Matchup Madness. And joining me tonight, we're going to go ahead and hop just straight into the first matchup. You know, things happen, people get busy, some people get scared, some people may, just not want to get on and brag, whatever the reason is. But we're going to hop into matchup one. And of course, for everyone that's watching, that's going to be your Thursday night game. And that's going to be the San Diego Superchargers, we'll give them that this week, and the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yep.
So, Ian,
Yes,
as
sir.
you're so graciously covering the Chiefs for me, tell me what the Chiefs can do to win this matchup.
I mean, honestly, I think looking at what they did against Arizona is really going to be the blueprint. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, we all thought that there was going to be a little bit of a fall off, especially losing number 10 being that deep threat. But, here comes Patrick Mahomes throwing for almost 77%, 5 touchdowns, 360 yards. It's like they didn't even lose a step. And honestly, after seeing it, I know for a while I was saying that Kansas City, they may not be as strong. Honestly, I'm starting to think that I'm going to start redacting that statement and say that they might even be stronger because now with Tyreek gone, we have more weapons for them to potentially look at now. As compared to, only looking at Tyreek and Kelsey, now you got MVS, now you got Juju, now you got McCole Hardman. So there's just a lot more spreading the wealth. And especially with JC Jackson still being out for the Chargers this week. I just see that as another bigger problem. And granted, I've said this about the Chargers. They are absolutely stacked, absolutely talented. I truly do think that they have one of the most elite rosters, top to bottom. But if you can't stop the bad man, then what good is that roster going to do for you?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I completely 100% agree. I think for me, kind of talking about the Chargers on their end, solid win, right, for the first week. They held the vaunted, high-powered Raiders offense to 19 points. Not horrible, but at the same time, you kind of expected a little bit more. You got these other guys there, and you add Devontae, Adams, and you expect that offense to explode. And at least in week one, it was actually very similar to another game as far as the lion's share of the targets and catches going to mainly one person. Difference being the other team actually did kind of spread the ball around at least a little bit more. And of course, the other team I'm talking about is my Philadelphia Eagles, for those who were not clear, but I think that'll be talked about later, but just wanted to, kind of draw the comparison for something else, someone else that, everybody may have seen. But I think this is going to be a difficult game for both teams. But I think the thing with the Chargers is we're going to see how that defense actually holds up this week. This is going to be a week to see if that defense is really as good as some people have pronounced it to be. I noticed in fantasy, a lot of people dropped the defense before the week one game. I don't know if it was because they were concerned, but I will just simply say this. I think it's something that you might want to watch for. I think as far as getting things together, making things go, the Chargers are still kind of like a lot of other teams that have a lot of different pieces. You're just figuring out how to play off everyone. It's going to come. They're going to actually be better than they were this week. I think for the Chiefs, like you said a few minutes ago, we still haven't seen the best out of that team. So until we see the best, we really don't know what we're going to get. So it's going to be very interesting to see this matchup. You have two teams who supposedly have really high-powered offenses. You have one team in the Chargers who, at least so far, people believe has a better defense. That's yet to be proven because I don't take a lot of stock in what happens in week one, right? Because it's week one. Everybody's still figuring themselves out. You're either having great games or horrible games. It's not really a lot in the middle. So we'll see how it continues to play. But, of course, the Chiefs went and put a spanking on the Cardinals last week. So that.
Yeah, I mean, to go up 37-7 before it's even the fourth quarter, and Arizona's supposed to be sitting here being one of the stronger teams from the NFC, it just really showed that offense just kept humming along. The enemy's offense is still something to be 100% taken seriously. So, but I mean, kind of like what you said with the Chargers, Their offense is still super potent. Obviously, yes, they are going to be missing Keenan Allen, but that secondary is still, suspect at times. Now, do I think it's going to be enough to matter in the long run? No, I don't. I think Kansas City's going to walk away with this one. But I still can, I can see this game, getting up to like a 30-27, maybe a 35-31, especially if both quarterbacks are actually running at 100%.
Yeah, definitely makes a lot of sense, man. It's a good matchup. As was said in the comments here, let me pull those up for everyone to get a little bit of information. We got a let's go here at the beginning. We got to go Hawks. So hey, looks like we got at least one Seahawks fan out there, right?
Yeah,
And
something like that.
then we got a huge early matchup, and I definitely agree. The Seahawks got to win, man. I mean, hey, you win a game, you win a game. It was an impressive win, but we'll let them talk about that later. But good game for them.
Yeah,
so a lot of great things I think happened this past week. I think a lot of people are going to be very happy. A lot of teams are going to be disappointed. Thankfully, I'm not going to be the ones that's disappointed, at least so far.
Yeah, and like Jay Hunt was saying, with it being another huge early matchup, I mean, the fact that the Chargers are now sitting on 2 divisional games after 2 weeks, it could be an absolute statement. If they do manage to get away with this one, they're going to be a game and a half up, in theory, on Kansas City, and then from there they'll be 2.5 up on the Raiders, and it's like they didn't even try. So, I mean, this is definitely my game of the week outside of one of the Monday night matchups, but I would say this is probably going to be the game to watch if you had to sit down and pick one.
Yeah, I would agree with that. 100%. And the best thing about it is it's the early game, right? That's just your Thursday night, so there's nothing else on. You get a chance to watch a great game. And a lot of complaints that people had last year was that when they saw these games, they weren't great games. And it honestly is a fair thing, I think, because there were a lot of Thursday night games last year that made you feel like, am I really going to take the time to watch this? But this does not feel like one of those.
Yeah, no, not at all. And then you have the whole new platform that it's on, with it being the first game that Amazon Prime is carrying exclusively. And, you're going to have 2 very recognizable voices there in the booth, with Al Michaels obviously coming over from NBC. And then you got Kirk Herbstreit coming over from Saturday Night Football, being the college announcing legend that I like to think that he is. I think they're going to complement each other great, and I can't wait to see what they do over there on Amazon.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna definitely excited about this matchup. Definitely excited about what we have going on. Appreciate you hopping on, Eden, and of course we will be seeing you again fairly soon.
Yep.
As you're going to cover a couple teams for us tonight. But
absolutely.
We're going to go ahead and end this one and hop over to the next one, and that will be the matchup with the Dolphins and the Ravens. It's going to be covered by my man Jeff Hunt. Don't have a Ravens rep on, but that's okay. Me and my co-host, who's able to arrive now, we're going to go ahead and dissect that Ravens for him. So I'm going to go ahead and hop on to that second matchup. Appreciate you hopping on, Ian. And again, we'll see you again in a little bit.
Yep, sounds good. I'll see you guys here in a bit.
Gentlemen.
What's up, guys?
How's it going, man? How's it going?
I just want to say, I'm not saying that I was the most rightest last week, but I was pretty spot on. I felt good about my coverage. I didn't have anybody from New England to come against me, but when it was all said and done, I felt good about everything I come up with. So this is probably the first season in a few years that I've been this optimistic about the Dolphins. So I'm gonna ride this. I'm normally a college football fan to where we don't care about anything until the season is over. So I'm gonna enjoy being an NFL fan for 6 days, and week 2 I'm excited about.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm gonna enjoy it.
As you should, man. As you should.
Appreciate
so, tell us about what do you think the Dolphins, obviously what they did right last week, that you think they can carry over into their game this week with the Ravens?
So what carries over is, if you really look at it, the Dolphins looked at the Patriots last week and were like, here's what we think the Patriots can do. Here's how many points we think they can score. Here's what we think we need to do. We don't need to try any harder than that. We need to take a couple shots. I mean, honestly, the Waddle touchdown wasn't a shot. You know what I mean? It wound up being a long touchdown, but it wasn't taking a shot. Tyreek Hill was actually held he had a good game. He had a good game, but I think he was held to about 10 yards of reception. So the Dolphins were like, this is all we need to do, which I'm a fan of that. As a coach, like, he recognized, like, this is all I think the Patriots can do. Let's do it. So coming into this week, what transfers over is, like, you have to set what you think Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens offense can do, and then you have to judge your offense. You know, you have to base it on how many points you think you need to score. So the coaching is what I think transfers over. I think this week they got to be like, okay, we need to score. I think they need to score at least another touchdown, probably a field goal. So we're talking another 10 points, which means a couple more shots, a couple more chances. You know, they need to recognize that Lamar is probably – this Baltimore Ravens team is better than the Patriots team they played last week. And I think the coaching staff needs to recognize that. And they have to recognize that, like as well as they did on defense, of like the Patriots couldn't score, they also have to recognize, like, we're not playing that team. They have to. Okay, here's the last thing I'll say, and I'll let you guys ask your questions. Don't get hung up on beating the Patriots. That is not the 2007 Patriots you beat. You know, understand, like, recognize the type of team you beat, the skill level of team you beat, and then recognize that coming into this week, this is a better team. We need to score more, and we need to try harder on defense to win this game. Because if they think that it's going to be that easy, it's not.
Definitely makes sense. So, Cedric, I'm gonna ask you this question. Tell me what you think the Ravens can do. Obviously, they had a good game last week, but tell me what you think they could do to get a dub this week. And then I'll sprinkle in a little bit with you there, buddy.
Well, I mean, I feel like in the first week, you know, Lamar Jackson came out and showed that he can toss the field around. You know, he can throw with the best of them. So I feel like, you know, it'll be good to see them try to stick to that approach. I would like to see him run more. They could definitely use the running game. But basically, I just feel like if they can extend their offense and keep Miami's offense off the field, especially with Kyle Fuller out, I think they'll do pretty good.
Yeah. For me, I love, like you said, Lamar was throwing the ball, and you know, Duvernay and Bateman were making catches. You know, they had, you know, fairly good stats. I have Duvernay in a couple of fantasy leagues as a guy to watch, and definitely performed well, at least in week one. And I think it showed a lot that sometimes once guys get around, they get a little season and they get a chance to play, get some rapport with their quarterback, and there's not other guys in front of them, that, hey, you give them the opportunity and they can play. I know Duvernay had a couple of big games last year. Bateman was pretty solid once he got back from injury. So I think they're going to have a good, solid group there. And, of course, Andrews is always going to be involved in that offense. But I think we're seeing Lamar with this year-long chip on his shoulder that he's clearly going to have. So all year, got a couple of comments here, so let's get those in real quick. But all year, I think you're going to see Lamar show everyone that, hey, I want this big payday, and I deserve it. And the way he's going to show it is on that field. I think he's going to run less. He's going to throw more, because that's the argument, right? That's the thing. Lamar can only run. He's not really a good quarterback. And there's several quarterbacks that are what's considered dual threats that have or are kind of getting that same type of thing. So I think you're going to have that. You're still going to have a running game, because clearly this team is going to run the ball. But I think you're going to have a situation where you're going to also have guys saying, hey, I need to do what needs to be done for this to be what it needs to be. And that's why I feel like we're, you know, getting with the Ravens. And I feel like they're going to surprise some people. A lot of people back on defense for this team. I won't say that they're going to beat Miami, because Miami was playing ridiculous. But I think this is another game that you look at this 3 weeks ago before the season started, you say, Baltimore's probably going to tear them to pieces. But then we've kind of seen Miami. And I think you see there is a lot of speed out there. There's a lot of pass catching and solid defense. So I think this will be a good game. And I'll be interested to see who you guys think are going to win.
Right, that's one of those things. Like, and this always catches me up in a kind of a catch-22. Like, I really like Baltimore. I like Lamar, and I just want to piggyback on what you said, man. Is that what the Dolphins need to do, and I've always said this about every team, but specifically this week, what Dolphins need to do is everybody is always like, oh, you want to get Lamar throwing the ball, and you want to do all this. No. Lamar, like, I forget what it was on the next gen stats on NFL. Like, Lamar had one of the tightest throwing radiuses last week of like anybody of all time. Like, he was dropping dimes. Like, no, I don't want Lamar throwing the ball. I don't want him sitting in the pocket. Like, I want Lamar running around because I understand what he can do with his ability. Like, he's just one of these, he's a different kind of dude, but at least if he's out there running around, like, you get a chance to like bump him, you get a chance to maybe like hold him to this. If you keep Lamar in the pocket, like, he tends to pick you apart. That's what's happened. Like, if you look at his MVP season, he was one of the most efficient quarterbacks of all time. Everybody's like, oh, we got to keep Lamar in the pocket. No, I don't want Lamar in the pocket. I want to rattle him. I want, you know what I mean? Things like that. And I think the Baltimore would say the same thing about Tua now. Like, Tua, like, you want to come up the middle, you want to push him out of the pocket, you want to make him make decisions on the run, you want to make him make throws. He doesn't have all the velocity on. I think it's kind of the opposite. So if Miami's going to win this game, like, you need to come up the middle at Lamar and get him running around and take your chances with his feet. It's his arm I'm worried about. And like you guys said it, like, what he was throwing last week was like, it was over. You know what I mean? Like, he was putting it in there. Tua played a good game, but I think he's 2 years away from where Lamar is. So for the Dolphins to win this game, they need to let Lamar get out of the pocket, and they need to try and create one for Tua.
It makes sense, man. Definitely.
Man, I think this is.
I guess what I'm saying is I'm scared
it's
to death
to be a
of this
good game. Yeah, I feel like this will be a test for both these teams for sure, and we could definitely see, both of these teams going deep later in the season. I feel like we are gonna, at least see one of these teams in the playoffs for sure. Miami's been slowly creeping up the past few years, but shoot, man. I definitely think it's going to be a big change from last week from both teams. They both came in and kind of had, I wouldn't say easy games, but I mean, they had easy games,
They did.
And it's a totally different game for both of them. They're both facing two totally different things, going from last week. I mean, who's the Jets quarterback? Joe Flacco? I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know who their quarterback is, from Joe Flacco and Mac Jones, two very conservative quarterbacks to two quarterbacks who have a possibility to, make something happen. I mean, Tua's, like you said, he's probably a year or two away from us really being like, oh, man, Tua's over there killing it. But he's definitely, doing his part and holding it down. I mean, the kid came from Alabama. He's been well coached, for the majority of his career. So I expect this to be a very exciting games. I almost feel like it's going to be one of the higher scoring games of the week. I'm excited to watch it, but I do kind of see Baltimore edging out on this one. I feel like really against Miami, all Baltimore's going to have to do is kind of I want them to make Tua throw it to Tyreek, make Tyreek the main, point of focus, especially with their depleted backfield.
Yeah, and I think that's the Baltimore, like, to attack Baltimore, you got to throw the ball. We've seen it with the most success we've seen against Baltimore is like Joe Burrow and Chase, going deep. Like, Tua, we said it last week. LeCedric, like, Tua has to push it downfield. Like, he has to keep pushing. If he starts dinking and dunking, this game's over early.
Yeah.
He has to keep pushing the ball. And last week, like, it felt like he pushed the ball, but I think there's some broken tackles away from like he really didn't. This week he really we need some air yards. We gotta push the ball downfield. This dink and dunk stuff and hoping we break a tackle probably won't work against the Ravens, but I think we're on the same page here.
Yeah. Go ahead, Cool.
I was just gonna quickly say, man, yeah, I'm excited about this game as well. You know, got a lot of comments here. Flacco elite. Flacco's definitely not elite. Does have a ring. So does Nick Foles. On to the next one.
Right.
He might be the best Dolphins team I've heard.
Nice.
It's a good take. It's a good, reasonable take. Tyreek thing.
That's my thing. I'm reasonable.
Like
it's not that I'm not a fan, but my thing is I'm reasonable. I can't, like, my wife is a huge Ravens fan. I can't sit here and watch the Ravens every week and then sit here and tell you we're going to come out and beat them by 30. That would be ridiculous. Lamar, when he's healthy, he's just a dynamic NFL player. He's hard to beat.
Yeah, definitely. And man, I'm excited about this game. I think that when you look at it, the weapons for Miami are going to be interesting. The defense for both teams is going to be pretty solid. And I think we're going to see a lot of Lamar being Lamar and doing Lamar things. And I think that might be a difference. I'm going to go slightly with the Ravens, but I will present a caveat and say I would not be surprised if Miami's able to penetrate that defense, so to speak. They're going to be able to just kind of destroy things, and there's not. I think it's
fair to say if whichever defense we'll say makes a big play or scores, I think that team wins. That's what I'll say right here. Like if you tell me Holland's going to score a touchdown, or you tell me Queen's going to score a touchdown, like that's the team that's going to win. I think it's going to be razor thin.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if it'll be razor thin. I feel like there were quite a bit of razor thin games this week, kind of knocked off the nerves. But I do expect it to be exciting. Like, I do expect it to be exciting, but I feel like one of these two teams is going to start to pull away late in the third and definitely make a game of it. But I don't think it will be close.
Oh, wow. I like it.
That's my hot take Tuesday.
I like it. I like that take. And we're only on game 2. This is great. That's why we love the NFL, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it.
We're talking about a 1 o'clock game could be the best one of the day. That's what's awesome about the NFL.
Yeah, man. I think these two teams match up pretty well. I think honestly, you see a few similarities between these two teams. And it's definitely gonna bring out some fireworks for sure.
I'll take that. I'll take fireworks at this point.
Definitely. So, yo, guys, definitely appreciate the time. We got a couple more comments here. One here that was a little interesting to me was the Josh Allen would like a word about best athlete. I think there's a couple of guys that would like a word about best athlete, right? I think you got a guy over in Philadelphia that would like a word about best athlete. You know, I think you have a guy.
I would like to do a whole show on best athlete.
Yeah, I think you got a guy in Chicago that's playing quarterback that they may have a say about best athlete. I think you even got a guy in San Francisco playing quarterback that might, give you a little argument about best athlete. So I think you got a couple of people that might say, hey, hold on now. We talking best athlete. I need to be in this conversation. Not necessarily
I'm here for Josh Allen versus Lamar conversation because that is exciting. They might be the two best athletes ever in the NFL. I'll just leave you with that hot take.
Oh man,
there you go. I'm done.
There's been some good athletes.
I'm just saying,
there's been some good athletes.
Yeah, there's been some really good ones.
We're saying athlete though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if you start a pickup basketball game after practice, like those two guys might be the best athletes. Or if you started, if they play tennis, Allen and Lamar might be still the best athletes. They're ridiculous.
That definitely makes sense.
But number 3 is probably close. Number 3.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I got you sidetracked.
Oh, no. You good. Well, Jeff, I appreciate you hopping on.
I appreciate
with us today,
you guys, man. This is a blast.
Yeah, excited to have you on, man. And hopefully in weeks to come, we'll have all the matchups solidified and we'll have everybody sliding in. But in the meantime, we're going to roll with it how it is. Because like I said, some people, for whatever reason, some maybe fear, aren't here. So it's all good.
Again, it's not a reflection on you guys. This is awesome, and I'm loving it.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. A couple more comments here. And it's all good. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and hop over to our next matchup. We do have one of the reps on, and that would be one of the big dogs here, Trey Larkins. And he'll be representing the Packers in their matchup against the Bears. Appreciate it, Jeff.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Have a good one, Jeff.
Trey, what's going on, man?
What's up, man? How you doing?
We doing well, man. We doing well. Me and Cedric are glad to see you here this week, brother. We missed you last week, man. We missed you last week.
Yeah. I missed y'all last week, man. I apologize about that, man.
It's all good, man. Life happens, bro. Life happens, man.
Sure.
We're glad to have you here now. So talk to us, man. Not a good week for the Packers. How do you feel about it? And how do you feel that they're going to move forward from that game and get ready for the Bears this week?
Well, honestly, looking at the game last week against the Minnesota Vikings, fellas, we could tell, early that Aaron Rodgers missed Davante Adams. I mean, you look at the first play from scrimmage, he throws a pass to Christian Watson. Christian Watson runs right by Patrick Peterson up the right sideline. He beats him. It's a touchdown. It's a touchdown that would have changed the complexion of the game, and it would have gave the Packers momentum. He drops the pass. Aaron Rodgers pretty much ghosted Christian Watson because he didn't look his way until late in the third quarter. So, it's gonna take some time for Aaron Rodgers to develop chemistry with Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs. And I believe that the defense for the Packers, honestly, was the more disappointing side of the ball on Monday because, fellas, when I look at the Green Bay Packers defense, they led by All-Pro J.R. Alexander. Up front, you got Kenny Clark, you got Dean Lowry, you got Devontae Wyatt out of Georgia, and their linebackers are solid too. You got Devondre Campbell, you got Quay Walker out of Georgia as well. And that secondary, I think the Packers got one of the best secondaries in the NFL with Jair Alexander, with Rasul Douglas, who they signed in free agency. They got Eric Stokes as well, but they was awful on Sunday. I mean, literally, Justin Jefferson had the game of his life, and for whatever reason, defensive coordinator Joe Barry, he didn't match up Jair Alexander on Justin Jefferson. So I was more disappointed in the defense than even the Packers offense, because I know it's going to take some time for Aaron Rodgers to develop chemistry with those young receivers. But in the early part of the season, fellas, I expect the defense to be the strength of the team. And Sunday afternoon against the Minnesota Vikings, they were awful.
I could dig that. I could definitely dig that. But Cedric, do you have any questions for Trey here?
I mean, isn't that how it has been, at least for the past 2 years, year or so with Green Bay? They have a slow start. I feel like at least the past 2 years, by like week 3, we have a press conference from Aaron Rodgers saying, "Everybody chill out. It's okay." Isn't this how they always start off, though?
Yeah, it really is, for sure. I think that, honestly, though, because the young receivers, they don't have chemistry with Aaron, I think that it's going to be important, again, for the defense to carry the load at the beginning of the season. And I think offensively, you saw A.J. Dillon, he led the team in receptions. And that's a running back. So, you got Randall Cobb, and Father Time is undefeated. I love Randall Cobb, but Father Time undefeated, fellas. We all know that. Randall Cobb a little bit past his time. And so I don't really see any receivers that Aaron Rodgers currently trusts. Allen Lazard, last week in practice, they said he had an undisclosed injury out of nowhere. I don't even know what the hell happened to Allen Lazard. I was least depending on him to be a reliable target for Aaron Rodgers. He been talking about how he wants to be a number 1 receiver, and somehow he gets injured in practice last week. They also didn't have David Bakhtiari, one of the best tackles that we have in the NFL. They didn't have Elton Jenkins. So that's 2 of your best offensive linemen that you need. And that's part of the reason why the Minnesota Vikings were able to get after Aaron Rodgers as well, because the Packers offensive line, they dealing with a lot of injuries right now. So, it's going to be a work in progress in the first quarter of the season. And it's actually funny, fellas, because I'm going to Green Bay next weekend, and I'll be at Lambeau Field to watch the Packers against the Bears. So they better get their act together, because I'm excited about going to Lambeau, and I don't want them to wet the bed while I'm in town. So I'm definitely excited.
I got another question. So what does Green Bay have to do to come out this week and win? So sorry, it's a 2-part question. What do they have to do to come out this week and win? And if they don't come out this week and win, is it cause for panic since that's 0-2 in the division?
Well, I think it's going to be important for the defense to set the tone. I think that defensively, they got to contain Justin Fields. I actually like Justin Fields. I think that Justin Fields, has tremendous upside, and I think he's going to make a lot of progress in his sophomore season, fellas. Like, out of all the young quarterbacks, I'm not talking about the Josh Allens or the Patrick Mahomes or the Justin Herberts or the Joe Burrows. I'm talking about like the Justin Fields, the Trey Lance, like those type of quarterbacks who are young still. I actually really, really got a lot of confidence in Justin Fields. So I think it's going to be important for the Packers defense to contain Justin Fields, try to rattle him, early in that game, send some blitz packages his way, maybe confuse Justin Fields. We saw in week 1, Justin Fields going up against a more superior team in the 49ers. Bears pull off the upset over the 49ers. So Fields was impressive in that game. So I think it's going to be important to contain Fields for the defense and offensively be able to establish the running game with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. I think the Packers got the best running back tandem in the NFL. You could throw the Browns in there, with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. But, I think it's going to be important to establish the running game. It's supposed to rain on Sunday night in Green Bay, so you got to establish the running game. And then again, the second answer to your question, I honestly, if the Packers go 0-2 and I witness the Packers losing at Lambeau on Sunday night, I'm going to be in panic mode on Sunday in the immediate aftermath of that game. I will be seriously concerned about the Green Bay Packers season and whether or not we're going to be a legitimate Super Bowl contender. So if they fall to 0-2 and we lose 2 games to start the season to 2 divisional opponents in the Vikings and the Bears, I'm definitely going to be worried. It's going to be a major level of concern for my Packers as the season goes on. 0-2 is not something I'm looking to see have.
I definitely hear that, man. I know you don't want that.
Nah.
I think when we're looking at the Bears, I'm gonna be real with you. The Bears got them a win this week. That's great. Happy for them. But I saw a lot that they didn't do, and you know what I'm saying? I saw.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
Say, there's a lot of the Bears did do here, but we're gonna make a quick update here because we've got someone here that would love to talk about the Bears.
About the Bears and Justin Fields, 121 yards.
Yeah, give me 1 second here. Here we go. All right, and then joining us is going to be
it's Malguli.
Sorry, you guys. It's a little bad.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, because I'm looking at my phone and it says I'm frozen. But yeah, other than that, I am Malguli. I am the Chicago Bear fan, a happy Bear fan, but at the same time, a common sense, down to earth Bear fan. Mr. Packer of Trey, you don't have to worry about going 0-2. Don't worry about it because we're about to face our literal boogeyman. Because this week 2 is boogeyman week. Because you got the Bears taking on their boogeyman and the Packers, a team that we couldn't beat in over the past years upon years, ever since the Lovie Smith era. You have a lot of teams that's taking on boogeymans, like the Colts taking on their boogeyman in the whole state of Florida. You got, boogeymans all around. But when it comes to that 49er game, I want to talk about that for a minute. That first half, the 49ers dominated the first half. Yeah, the weather was a big factor. But at the same time, like that first half, like we couldn't run the ball for crap. That offensive line just is still the same offensive line. Like that was one of the biggest concerns for us was offensive line play. Can our offense get to the red zone? That was the biggest things we wanted to see. We wanted to see what Justin Fields could really do now that he doesn't have a buffoon calling stuff in his ear in the name of Matt Nagy, and then you don't have Ryan Pace. Basically a new coaching staff. You got Matt Eberflus and Luke Gasly. Luke Gasly did not impress me with his play calling in the first half. And as soon as the second half happened, it just became a battle of which team was going to be more disciplined. A lot of people say that this was a fluke win from us. To be honest, I kind of agree with that perspective, but at the same time, you got to look at the perspective on the 49ers' sake. 11 penalties killed the 49ers. 11. I mean, they just weren't disciplined in the second half. And then you got Shanahan being Shanahan, typical Shanahan that didn't learn from 28-3. You cannot be conservative when you can't give a team life. This Bears team is still trying to get it together. And Ryan Poles' job is to make sure what Justin Fields can bring to an offense. And like that first half, they basically tried to get David Montgomery going, but obviously that didn't work. So then you get Khalil Herbert going. But what really changed the momentum and the perplex of that game was Justin Fields' unbelievable running out the pocket, throwing it to I can't pronounce his name, to Pettis, and that's what did it right there. And that's where the perplexing then. That's where I had to give Matt Eberflus some credit. You just said, Luke Gasly, look, man, your game plan's not working. Let Justin Fields be Justin Fields. Let me handle it. And boom, he handled it. And finally, and also another thing too, and I'm so glad Matt Eberflus brought this into Chicago. Back in Chicago, it should have never left. A sexy 4-3 defense. I've been missing a 4-3 defense since Lovie Smith. That's how long it's been. And it's just been, for us, like the best year for this team, like right now, is just like, it's just like 28. It was like 2018, but it didn't have that magic because you still have some questions. I still have questions that Justin Fields, who in the the HE hockey sticks is he going to throw it to besides Mooney, besides Cole Kmet, and he has to get those two going. But yeah, when people say, oh, was it a fluke on Sunday and the weather was a factor, was it really? Because the 49ers were not disciplined at all in the second half, and Kyle Shanahan was being conservative. Now, I'm happy that we got the win, 19-10, but now it's time for us to take – this is the ultimate test for not only Justin Fields and this new found offense, but it's also a test for our younger defensive core as well. Because my biggest concern for this year was if the Bears had like maybe let's say 7 or 10 point lead, can they keep it? And it was all because of their corners. That's why they drafted Kyle Gordon. That's why they drafted Brisker to help Eddie Jackson out there in that backfield, because Eddie can't do it all. He can't. And The only way we beat Green Bay is whatever Green Bay did on Sunday still happens. And the fact that Aaron Rodgers, personally to me, I'm not the biggest fan of Aaron Rodgers, not because he plays for the Packers, just the fact of his attitude is the reason why I don't like him. I can understand his frustration.
Well,
but at the same time,
definitely like a whole diatribe we could go on here about the quirkiness and the weirdness of Aaron Rodgers.
Y'all hear me?
But let me ask you this. I know you said the only way that you can win is, certain things happen. As you believe, is there a way that the Packers can give y'all the game?
The only way that happens if, I don't know, the Packers wide receiving core or the lack there is, the trust and communication from Rodgers and his newfound receivers. If that continues, if they keep on dropping passes, if they just keep on, getting wide open, because they will be wide open, and they keep dropping. And also, you have this defense that's now back to a 4-3. This ain't a 3-4 defense no more. It's now a 4-3 now. And if what's his name, Dominique Robinson gets a hold of Rodgers, I mean, that's the one thing. You have to get to Rodgers. You have to get at him like he's a piece of meat. You have to get in there when dinner is ready. Because I want Dominique Robinson to be like, oh, dinner's ready. Oh, I got some ribs. Oh, I got some turkey legs. I want him in that defensive front to basically say, hey, it's dinner time. Rodgers is running. Okay, we need to have a quarterback spy on him. And that's where Roquan Smith comes into play. And that's where I think that would be the biggest factor. If Roquan Smith can spy on Rodgers, and Rodgers just has that same that disconnect with his receivers, even though he flat out said in the media that he hates his new wide receiving core. But that's a totally different story for a different day. But yeah, that's the only way we win. And I see him with the cheese head.
I got to acknowledge Trey took a break and came back with the cheese head. So Trey, I'm gonna give you the last word here on the matchup, brother. What can the Packers do to guarantee themselves a win in this game?
I think offensively it's going to be important for the Packers to be able to establish the run. I think that you got to establish the run with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. Like I mentioned earlier, I think that when you look at the best running back tandems in the NFL, Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon is at the top of that list. I think that those are two dynamic running backs. They are nicknamed Thunder and Lightning for a reason. And I think that you got to establish the running game because it's going to take some time for A-Rod to develop chemistry with those young receivers like Romeo Doubs, like Christian Watson, Sammy Watkins. He can't stay healthy, but at some point you want to see him be able to, help the offense, improve as the season goes along. You still got Randall Cobb, the old veteran. Like I said earlier, Father Time is undefeated and his best days are behind him. But I still think Randall Cobb can, produce in key moments for Aaron Rodgers. And then we did get back our tight end in Robert Tonyan last week. So I like Robert Tonyan. I think he can definitely produce in that Packers offense. So that's the key for the offense. Defensively, it's going to be important for the Packers to be able to contain Justin Fields and make the Bears have to play in third and long situations. I don't think the Bears have elite skill position players. And so I believe that Justin Fields, his weapons to distribute the football to are mediocre at best. So I think you got to put the Bears in third and long situations and, apply some pressure on Justin Fields and create some turnovers. And I think that's a recipe for success for the Packers in this rivalry against the Chicago Bears, even though, fellas, it really ain't a rivalry because we have dominated the Chicago Bears. And you heard it last year, Malcolm, when Aaron was in Chicago at Soldier Field. He scored the touchdown. He was in the red zone. He scored the touchdown on the right side of the field. And what he said to the Chicago Bears fans, the Bears faithful, he said, "I own you."
The fact that he didn't get shot still amazes me.
Well, we're gonna let that be the end of this conversation, guys. So appreciate you for both hopping on. If y'all hop on the YouTube, feel free to go on there and let everybody know where they can find you. And we appreciate you guys, man. Look forward to having you back next week.
I appreciate it, fellas, for sure. This was fun. I definitely want to do it again.
Appreciate it.
For sure. So next we're gonna
be happy with your free win.
Chris Fisher, who's gonna be actually covering the Jets for us as a double duty tonight. So here we go. All right, Chris, appreciate you hopping on, man. I know you're covering your squad as well, but appreciate you hopping on and just giving us some Jets talk tonight. So, Chris, this is a game between the Jets and the Browns. The Browns obviously got them a dub last week. Barely, but hey, it still counts. And in the Jets, tough week. Where do you see the Jets going? How do you see the Jets bouncing back and being able to possibly get a win this week?
Well, it's all going to start with what version of Joe Flacco is going to show up this week. Are we going to get 2012, who took the Ravens to the Super Bowl, or are we going to get the average Joe that we've been seeing as of late? I think they have to get off a good start, get on that run game. They have to be able to control the ball, keep Jacoby Brissett and that monster of a rushing attack that the Browns have off the field for as long as possible. Because otherwise, it's just going to be a brutal game if the Browns' run offense can get the way they got last week.
Okay, fair enough. So to flip it to the other side real quick, what do you think the Browns can do in this game to build on what they did last week and try to go 2-0 without their starting quarterback?
It's simple. Jacoby has to minimize mistakes and just keep handing the ball off. I would like to see Amari Cooper get more involved in the offense. He was a ghost last week. But, they really don't need much out of their receiving corps. If they can continue to put up 200 yards on the ground every week, then who do you need to throw the ball for?
Yeah, that's the thing about the Browns. That running game, man, they've got three backs over there that can put up 100 yards a game easy. So I love the fact that they're able to do that. It's great to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the thing with them is, if you can find a way to negate that, we haven't seen enough from Brissett yet to feel comfortable that he can win a game with his arm alone. So that's kind of where I feel like the Jets or anyone that's playing the Browns, your goal is to try to stack that line as much as possible. Because obviously Brissett's going to make throws, but you're going to want to stop those running backs, especially the catches out of the backfield. I think that's the way that you can possibly negate the Browns. And maybe or maybe not the Jets have the defense that can do that, but I think that's what it would take.
And Jacoby is the definition of game manager. You saw it when he was in relief with the Patriots before he got sent out to the Colts. You saw it when he took over for Andrew Luck, when Luck decided he wanted to retire out of the blue. He's the definition of game manager. He has to have a great supporting cast around him, which he has. He has a decent offensive line in Cleveland now. He has those three-headed monster and running backs, and he has the receivers that could – very well be game changers if need be. It's just all depending on if he can remain mistake free. He's not going to be a guy that's going to, take off like a Lamar or a Tua or Kyler Murray or whoever, but he can manage a game well, give him the right play calls and the right pieces around him.
Fair enough. So bottom line, being that you're more of a neutral party, this is a reasonable question. Who do you think is going to win this game?
I think it's going to be. I think I'll give it to Cleveland. I think it's just too much for the Jets to be able to handle. They're still a young team. They still have a lot of young pieces that are still trying to learn and grow in the league. And if Cleveland's defense, they've always had a good defense. And that now this running game it's I can't say enough about their running game, and I think it's just going to be too much for New York to be able to compete with. They might be able to start if they can start off fast, and again, like I said, play keep away ball, control the clock, and win that game there, then they might have a chance. But I believe this is going to be all Cleveland game.
Fair enough. LeCedric, did you have anything you want to add? Any comments or any questions?
I think the Jets are tanking. I mean, you got Garoppolo sitting over there just riding the bench. They could have, they had like 20 first-round picks this year. So, I mean, they can afford to trade some picks away for Garoppolo. I just feel like they just said, you know what, forget it. Let's just give up. So, I feel like Cleveland's definitely going to run. I don't think they're going to run away with this. And I think Cleveland's going to find a way to possibly screw themselves up. But the Jets are pretty much giving it to them. I mean, it's Joe Flacco. He's not going to be any better than he was, and he wasn't that good. So I just feel like, they have all those young receivers over there. Man, like you said, such a young team. Why would you bring in Joe Flacco to be your stopgap? And I don't think Robert Saleh wants to go back to Zach Wilson. Not to get off topic, but I do see Cleveland winning this game unless they find a way to shoot themselves in the foot. But they'll, I feel like they're going to run away with it. No pun intended, I guess.
Fair enough. Well, Chris, I appreciate you hopping on, man, doing double duty. We'll see you here soon, covering with the Falcons. We'll go ahead and hop over to the next game. And Chris, don't forget to hop in the comments along with everyone else on YouTube. And let everybody know where they can find you. So that way, everybody wants to follow you guys, check out what else you have going on, or know where to find you, what you got going on.
For sure. See you guys in a little bit.
All right. Appreciate you, man. And we got the guy, the main man, Couch Coach in the house. What's going on, Couch Coach?
What's going on, guys? Away, Victory Tuesday.
I'm going to have to stop having you on, man.
Victory Tuesday.
Away. What's going on?
What's going on, fellas?
Not much, man.
What's going on?
So I know, like myself, and every other team in the division not named the Arlington football team, aka Cowboys, you are celebrating, your victory from last week. So talk to me a little bit about what you did in this past week that you feel like that you can continue to do, and how you feel, what you feel will happen in this game with you and the Lions this week.
The thing that I was really proud of was Carson Wentz's perseverance. Obviously, throwing that interception to Trayvon Walker in the fourth quarter, pretty much led into their scoring drive, and for them to kind of come back in this game and actually, take a lead. And with Carson Wentz being able to after that scoring drive, go right down the field, throw a 49-yard touchdown pass to Terry McLaurin, definitely helped. So that's another thing I was really impressed with, and also the game-winning touchdown to Jahan Dotson. And I think that's a great thing of this offense, where in normal times, if you guys follow the Commanders, normally when we're in those spots, we just kick a field goal, and so for them to go for it and actually go to score and make it a 6-point game instead of making it a 1-point game and just kicking the field goal. So kudos to that. I think in this Detroit game is weird because it's funny because you think Detroit is all they the dumpster fire or whatever, this and the third, but this is a house of horse for us. We out of the last 6 matchups that we played Detroit, we've lost 5 of those. So I think this week is going to be a lot different. I think one of the keys is we can't be lackadaisical. We can't get to a point where we get stagnant on offense. Obviously, there was a point in the third quarter in that Jacksonville game where it became stagnant, where it was continued that 14-3 lead, and pretty much didn't do nothing to kind of put the pedal to the metal. This Detroit team has a fight. Obviously, cool. Obviously, last week when you guys played them, pedal to the metal, but guess who was trailing right behind and almost snuck in there almost for a win. So this Detroit team is a lot different than what we faced against Jacksonville. So we got a tough game, and the thing is, hey, we got we can win on this game. We get 3 times in this game, we will lose 8 times that we play Detroit. So turnovers, DeAndre and things
Yeah, definitely, man. I'd also say on the Lions side of things, man, it's gonna be so crazy.
In this ninth, really scared that
Coach, I think you're going a little in and out there, man. But with that Lions team, man, that's definitely, I think y'all gonna have your hands full. Those are 2 teams that I think a lot of people, including myself, I'm not gonna pretend, thought we're not going to do as well week 1. And even though the Lions didn't win, then they still did very well, and they still showed everybody that, hey, like you said, this is not a team to be played with. DJ Chark, Amon, St. Ra, a lot of people just really played well for that team. And in the running game, I did not expect them to be able to come out and dice us like that with the run. So I think this is a team that people need to watch out for. Maybe a team that I don't think is quite ready to be a main team, but I think they're a team who can be a great spoiler and are going to have a big say in who does win, because you're going to have to go through a team like that to not get knocked out and be able to beat them.
Yep. Dang, I wish he was still there, man. I had a good question for him. I want to see how it feel, you know what I'm saying, for the Lions to be favored over the Commanders. The Lions been underdogs 24 weeks straight, and in week 2 they're favored to win.
Yeah, that's wild. Knowing Couch Coach as well as I do, I would say the Couch Coach probably was not too worried about that. If anything, he'd probably take that as his team a little extra motivation. The Commanders, good week last week. They got some good weapons. If they can keep their quarterback mentally involved and him feeling like everybody loves him and he's wanted and he's needed and he's the only one they're looking at, the only one they want, they can be pretty good, because the one thing about their quarterback, he is not accustomed to situations where he may be challenged. We're just going to put it like that.
Well, he was, but I mean, they shipped him off, The Eagles shipped him off when there was a challenge.
Can you hear us, Couch Coach? Yeah, I think he's having some technical difficulties. Which, hey, man, things happen, man. It's part of what we do, and it's all good. Couch Coach, man, we appreciate you coming on, as always. If you could hear us, we definitely look forward to have. Okay. Cedric had a question for you.
Is he gonna make it?
Did you hear the question Cedric had? You may not have heard it. Go ahead, Cedric.
Oh no, I was saying. Okay, cool. I wanted to see how you felt. I want to see how you felt for them to have the Lions favored over the Commanders this week. This is the first game the Lions been favored to win in about 24 weeks. You hear me? Did you hear it?
Yeah, I said that's probably what you would say. But yeah, Couch Coach, man, make sure you hop in the comments as well as I'm telling everyone. Let everybody know where they can find you, how they can follow you, where they can enjoy your other content that you're putting out, man. We appreciate you coming on. I'm glad we were able to get the technical difficulties straightened out so we could just, get a little feedback from you there on this game. Personally, I must say I'm actually taking the Commanders. I feel like the Commanders have a little bit of a better chance to win this game, but I think it'll be a tight game. Because so far I've seen Carson get supported and feel loved, and that's what he needs. As long as that happens, he's good.
Absolutely. Yay.
But yeah, again, appreciate you, man. We're going to hop back over to gentlemen we just had on before this with the second part of this double duty. It looks like, again, nobody wants to go against this guy. Hopefully there'll be a game where we have the Commanders against the Falcons, because we know that both of these men are going to show up, and that might be a good matchup. So we'll see what happens later on in the year. Haven't looked at the full schedule yet. But appreciate you, Couch Coach, man, and we'll have you back. All right, sir, we got you back in the house. This time spitting a little fire about a team you know very well, and that would be, the Falcons. In their matchup here this week, they're going against
the Colts.
The Colts, yeah.
Sorry. Is it the Colts?
The Rams.
The Rams, that's right. The Rams.
Oh, I've got you on early. My bad. I've actually got you on for the Colts and the Jags. I apologize. I just said the wrong game here. My bad. So it's actually the Colts and the Jaguars. I apologize, everybody. I'm over here confusing myself. But yeah. So when it comes to the Colts and the Jags, we obviously don't have our other rep on. So I'll just ask you the same thing I did before. Colts and Jags, we'll keep it sweet and simple. What can the Colts do to win this game? What can the Jags do to win this game? And what do you think they'll be able to carry over from what they were able to do or not do this past week?
Matt Ryan has to do his thing, get his weapons involved early, control that run game, and their defense is good enough that they can basically slow down the Jags offense. On the flip side of that, I noticed that the Jags have a really, really sticky defense. They were surrounding the ball. They were coming up with interceptions. They were sacking the QB. So they're going to have to put that pressure on Matt Ryan to be that MVP he was a few years ago. It's going to be a really interesting game. I see this being a low-scoring game, especially with the two defenses involved. But for the last couple of seasons, the Jags have had the Colts number at least one of the two matchups every year. So it's going to be a really interesting competition.
Okay. I'll say it simply this way from my perspective in regards to this game. And Cedric, if you feel like you want to chime in, feel free to. I think the Colts are going to be pissed. They went out and got a tie against a Texas team that they should have whooped, period. Yeah. And they weren't able to. So I think this is going to be one of those moments where the coach can get the rah-rah and kind of get everybody fired up based on what happened. And the thing is, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's going to be very exciting. What I really want is I'd really love to see both teams come out and play really well. I think Jacksonville has a lot of potential. They have the weapons. They're not great, but they're solid guys at the wide receiver position. They've got two guys at the running back position. James Robinson was the main guy this past week, but I think Etienne has got to be factored more in as you see the season go along. So I would be excited about that as well. So I think it's just a matter of seeing what's going to happen and how things are going to play out between these teams. But I would have to say I'd go with the Colts over the Jags, especially with the added motivation.
Yeah, the Jags absolutely cannot start off slow like they did last week. They get in too big of a hole against the Colts. It's an insurmountable mountain that they're not going to be able to climb out of. But if they can start the way they finished last week, it's going to be an interesting game.
You know, I didn't watch any of these two teams play last weekend because they're usually not that exciting. But yeah, I think the Colts are gonna pull this one out just based off experience. I just feel like Jacksonville's just not there yet with the experience. And quite frankly, I mean, they just don't know how to win games. And I feel like that's going to be the Colts' advantage is that, I mean, Matty Ice, you know, I know, Chris, you know about Matty Ice, but still, they got Jonathan Taylor. He's the best running back in the game. And I feel like just their experience on how to win games is going to carry them to the finish line on this one. So I give it to the Colts.
I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, Taylor has to have 20 to 25 touches like early, feed him early and often, and whether it's screens coming out the backfield or just straight handing off, he has to be the focal point in this offense. And once that happens, like I said earlier, like if they're controlling the clock, then there's nothing that Jacksonville can do. But on the flip side, Jacksonville does have a run game that they can do the same thing. And Trevor Lawrence has shown that he has the poise to stand in the pocket. He can make all the throws, and he has the weapons to do so this year. That's something he didn't have, and he has a competent play caller. So, like I said, it could be very, very interesting, but they cannot start slow. They have to come out the gate swinging, otherwise it's going to be a long day.
Yep. Just waiting a second here for our next reps to hop in here with us. But in the meantime, want to shout out everyone who is participating. Appreciate it. I know some people aren't able to participate. Some people are able to do multiple teams, so appreciate that as well. But essentially, man, we're just moving along, keeping it rolling, rocking with what we have. That's pretty much how it goes. So again, appreciate everyone that can, and is a part of things as we roll along right now. Get this set up here.
Man, I appreciate you, Cool, for putting this thing together, man. It's fun talking with you guys every week.
No problem, man. I'm always excited about doing it, man. The reason I'm doing it, I just love sports, man. I love talking about it. So I figure there's a lot of other people out there that feel the same way. So let's go.
Right. Yeah, man.
1 second here, guys. 1 second here.
So, Chris, what do you think the score is going to be?
I think it's going to be 24-20. I'll give it to the Colts.
Field goal.
I actually think the Jaguars might be up at some point. And it's going to come down to a Matt Ryan fourth quarter 2-minute drill, put them up and seal the game.
All right, cool. Makes sense. So we'll have you on one more time, Chris, for your actual game against the Rams. I apologize for getting mixed up in my brain here. A lot going on, but it's all good. So appreciate you, man. We're about to bring in Val, and Derek's going to talk a little bit with us about the Bucs. We know Derek is the Bills guy, but versatility is something we appreciate. We got a lot of guys that can talk a lot of teams and gals as well. So definitely want to go ahead and get this next matchup going. Again, Chris, as I told you before, make sure you hop in the comments and let everybody know where they can find you.
For sure. See you guys in a little bit.
Yes, sir. All right. So we got us an actual matchup here. It's been a little tricky for some of the matchups tonight, but hey, that's how it goes. But so lady and gentlemen, we'll start with the lady. If you want to talk a little bit about kind of what happened with your team last week and how that rolls over into what happened this week, tell us what the Saints did last week, how they can build on that, and what they can do to win this game against this Bills. Look at you, I'm saying Bills, the Buccaneers this week.
I was like, hold on, man. We ain't ready for no Bills yet.
I know, man. When I see my Bills guy, I'm like, the Bills, yeah.
We're not
quite
ready
yet,
for
not
the
quite yet.
Bills yet. Always go celebrate a victory. Victory Tuesday. It was ugly
Okay.
for us the first 3 quarters. It was real nasty. Our O line wasn't holding for nothing. Couldn't establish no run. Falcons D line had their way with us. I don't know. I don't remember the last time the Saints had so many sacks in the game. The Saints QB. He had a lot. I mean, James was getting ate up. He ain't had no time to throw. Our run game was non-existent. I don't know what was going on with Kamara and Ingram. Ingram fumbled. You know, it was ugly for the O-line. They got it together towards the end. Like the fourth quarter, James started airing it out, but he also started taking his snaps from the shotgun. So I don't know if that helped or what, but he ended up figuring it out and getting it together towards the end. It also probably is a nod to the Falcons for taking their foot off the gas. I mean, they was killing us with the blitz packages and everything else in the beginning, and then they just started getting soft, and James started airing it out. Thanks to that, I mean, you know, it's kind of on the Falcons to fumble, but yeah, I'm happy about that. Our O-line really needs some work because I feel like the Bucs will always bring it. They always do. We cannot have the same O-line as we did last game. Other improvements, our D-line needs to get some pressure on Brady for sure. We didn't get any pressure. We don't have any sacks registered on Mariota last game. I mean, we always struggle with QBs that'll take off running or any mobile QBs. You seen last year, Jalen Hurts ate us up. You know what I'm saying? We are terrible with mobile QBs. Luckily, Tom Brady is not very mobile. If he is, he's slow. So that's a plus for us. But D-line need to step it up. Linebackers need to step it up because it was, like I said, it was ugly for us, like the first 3 quarters. And we just got to work. D-line, O-line, that's my main concern for this game, for sure.
Fair enough. Same question for you.
Listen, man, it's the Bucs, right? It's Tom Brady. First off, you're making me talk about Tom Brady. Come on, but I got this. All right. I mean, Tom didn't do anything special last week, but he didn't have to. You know, the Cowboys did not look good, and Tom just did enough. You know, 18 completions, 210, 1-1. Nothing crazy there, nothing. But, I mean, some of the throws this man still makes at 119 years old is ridiculous. It's, you know, Leonard Fournette in midseason form. You know, there was some talk, is he going to be in shape? Is he going to, you know, do what he can do? Well, apparently he can. 127 yards for a dude that they were talking about being out of shape. Not so out of shape, I guess. I'll tell you what, this defense, man, they lost some pieces, but it doesn't look like it between, you know, White, Winfield, David, Ryan, Barrett. I mean, these guys are studs. Yeah, this is not far removed from that team that won a Super Bowl 2 years ago. Couple key pieces gone, but nothing crazy. And you just handled a Dallas team that all you've heard about from Dallas fans for, I mean, weeks at this point is it's our year. One, I don't think so. You know, what they got to do is they got to be able to figure out how to beat the Saints because they didn't do it last year, and they struggle with them every single season. And part of it's because Tom Brady is a tree, doesn't move. And I do think the Saints have enough in that secondary to make him second guess himself, just enough to create time for the D-line to do stuff. It's kind of that reverse, kind of create coverage sacks, create coverage pressure, stuff like that. If Tom Brady can get rid of the ball, it's going to be a long day. I'm intrigued to see how Julio Jones factors in again. You know, he finally showed up on a stat sheet in the last couple of years. It's been a while. Nice to see. I don't know if that's sustainable. And if it is, who takes a step back? It wasn't Mike Evans last year. Godwin didn't do much. And that's going to be, is there enough ball to go around there? I'd also like to point out that Brady had -1 rushing yards last week.
It's always a good stat for Brady being negative. I think it's a plus for us too. Godwin might be out this game, so I mean,
very true.
I don't know. Marshawn Lattimore seems to do great when paired up with Mike Evans. So hopefully that's still a thing. We just got to worry about Julio because Julio looked great yesterday. I don't know if it's because Dallas. I don't know, but Julio looked great on Sunday. So
yeah, Julio looked like Julio Gold, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. It's gonna be hard. Like you said, Fournette looked good. Our run defense usually is pretty good, but we struggled like Cordero Patterson had his way with us. Son had a great game yesterday. So, and that was one of my concerns going into the game last week. I was like, we got to account for Cordero Patterson. Like, Son is that like their whole offense. And I mean, he ran all over. He had over 100 yards and a tutty. So, I don't know. Fournette might do the same. Who knows?
I don't think Fournette's as dynamic. I think he's more of a bowling ball, more that just north-south, put his head down and go. But which might play more into the Saints. Again, for some reason, the last 2 years, the Saints have had the Bucs number. When you look on paper, you should be like, this is Tom Brady and a pretty darn good team. This should be not really a close game. And the Saints just have that number. They pull that ticket every single year to the point that I want them to be in the playoffs because I want to see Tom Brady get beaten in the first round.
Well, see, you can't even say that we beat him in the regular season and we had him that 1 year in the playoffs and we lost. So
That's true. I try to forget that part.
You can't really ask for miracles every year. You just got to go out there and play.
Absolutely.
I mean, blowing a shutout with Tom Brady is impressive. We can't ask for that again. But yeah, we're gonna have to bring it, man. I don't know. 𝐏𝐀 was supposedly suffering a rib injury, so we're gonna see what's up with that. They signed Latavius Murray to practice squad, which to me is a sign that they're worried. But I hope 𝐏𝐀 be all right. Not only that, I have him on fantasy, so my guy need to be all right. I hope he's straight. Michael Thomas looking good. I hope him and James start, building that chemistry. Jarvis Landry looked amazing yesterday.
I love Jarvis Landry. I was pumped for him to get on this team and have guys around him that are going to help him out. I was pumped about that signing.
Yeah, he did phenomenal.
I want to know what Taysom Hill's official position is. Like some leagues he's a tight end, some leagues he's a quarterback. Still, I don't know. I don't make the rules, but I love it. I love watching that dude go out and play and just make people look weird.
I'm kind of like shocked sometimes. Like, how does this dude break off a 60-yard run when y'all know he about to tuck and run?
Yeah, he's not throwing it.
Like,
he's not doing anything but running.
He did the same play twice. Yeah, I don't know. He's listed as a tight end this year, but man, that man play all over the field.
Somebody just tossed in there Hill's Inspector Gadget, and his official position is Earthang.
His official position is football.
Yes.
I don't know. We're gonna need everything with this game with the Bucs, man. I feel like they're gonna keep wanting to build on their little momentum that they tore up Dallas with, and I mean we feeling good too, even though we squeaked out that win with the Falcons, but every dub is a dub. And I mean we showed perseverance too, because we was down by 16 very late in the game. So it's gonna be
I'm glad it's in the wins. That was a good game all around. I mean, exciting, I should say. Can't necessarily say good all the time.
If it was anybody but the Falcons, I think we'd have lost. Just keeping it real. Gotta keep it real.
Hey, I mean, sometimes you just get the right matchup when things are not going well. And I got to say, the whole time I'm watching the game, as I'm seeing the Falcons, up or ahead and playing real aggressive, I'm like, Falcons? Like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't think they're going to finish the game doing it by any means. But just to see them do it by that far, I'm like, man, them boys was actually trying to be serious up in there for the game. So,
yeah, like their defense was like getting after us. Like we couldn't do jack.
Yeah. I mean, it's no shade against the Falcons. We talked about it before. I just don't think they're really on point as of right now. It'd be nice to say it that way.
If they could finish it, they'd be all right. But I mean, they gonna Falcon. Falcons gonna Falcon. So
yeah, game is 4 quarters, not 3. They seem to forget that.
History repeats itself.
Derek and Val, I appreciate both of y'all hopping on. Please,
yes,
like I'm telling everybody, just hop in the comments. Let everybody know where they can find you, where they can follow you, your other projects that you have going on. And we'll have y'all on here next week. I'm gonna hop over to the next matchup, which is the Panthers and the Giants. Apparently, my Panthers rep is not wanting to get in here and talk about, I guess, what happened last week, right? I don't know. But
is that Mo Fitzy?
Over to that. Yeah, Mo's not but won't ready to talk this week. But y'all got a matchup coming up. We'll definitely make sure that's a fun one.
He better be here next week.
Hey, he should be able to hear you. So definitely. But I appreciate that, guys, and Derek. Appreciate you stepping in, man.
No problem.
We'll hop on over to this next one. Let's go.
Appreciate y'all, boys.
Wise. What's going on, brother?
I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you fine.
I don't hear you though. I don't know why. Hold on.
You don't hear us?
I just heard you.
All right, can you hear me now?
Backstage. Hold on, I'll be right.
All right. In the meantime, Cedric, anything you want to start off with in regards to the Panthers and Falcons?
I mean, we got two
Panthers and Giants,
teams. We got two teams coming off, both sides of the spectrum. Same, but different. You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like the Panthers gonna have a bounce back week. And we'll see the Giants we know, that we're used to. But yeah, I mean, they're coming off a win, so they definitely have that momentum, but I don't think I feel like it was more so the Titans lost that game than the Giants won it.
All right, I got a request for someone to be put in, so hey, we're gonna make it happen.
Hey, I'm back again, and not for the second time either. So
Broncos got to show up somehow.
Well, I mean, we'll talk about that later. So yeah. Nah.
All right, so yeah, while Wise is getting everything straightened out on that end,
yeah.
Talk to us about the Panthers, what they had happening last week, and what they can have and what they can do to kind of right that and try to get a win this week against the Giants.
I mean, what did Carolina do right? Oh wait, CMC actually stayed healthy for the entire game. So I mean, let me just start there. I mean, I always make the comment that, CMC ran me over in high school, and that still holds true. Like, that just doesn't go away. But it was just nice seeing him getting back to what we know he can be. Now, granted, yes, he only had, 10 touches for 33 yards on the ground and things of that nature, but it's just nice seeing him back on the field 100%. Now, as far as what can Carolina do better, I'm not. You got us now, Wiz? No? All right. Anyway. But yeah, no, I mean, Baker filled in quite admirably. I know the first half he was essentially getting booed out of his own stadium, which I honestly never think is okay. I mean, he's there to help you guys out, not to turn against you guys. So I understand that, he showed up late for training camp and things of that nature. But, I mean, he still showed up, threw at a 59% clip. He still, got you guys back into the game. In fact, he got you all back into the lead with under 2 minutes to go.
That's what I get for messing with stuff.
So, but, yeah. I mean, Carolina, I really think that they had a solid overall game. I mean, kind of like what we were talking about on Friday. This was one of those games that you could literally toss it up either way. And I think, Cleveland's star kicker just got right place, right time. So, maybe our Giants guy, he's here, he's not, he's here, he's not.
So like the team.
Yeah, really, kind of like the team. But, I mean, to be fair, Saquon did exactly what Saquon needed to do for a comeback. I think he ended with like 161 yards.
Comeback of the year.
I can hope. But
there we go.
Oh, we got him now?
Yes, I can hear y'all now.
Hey.
All right, let's go.
There we go. All right,
go.
Floor's yours, bud.
Oh, I'm lost. I don't even know who we're talking.
Oh, well, basically,
the Giants. The Panthers.
Yeah. So Ian was just hopping on to give a little insight on the Panther side and kind of help us out while you were getting everything straightened out over there. So talk to me about what the Giants did well last week, and what do you think they can transfer over to this coming week?
Oh man, they did. Listen, not only did they surprise me, they surprised everybody else by defeating the Titans. Nobody thought they were going to beat the Titans. Listen, if Saquon can run the ball like he ran the ball this past week, and we're looking good. Daniel Jones, he still has to stop turning over the ball so much. He had a fumble and a pick. But if he can stop with the turnovers, and Saquon can run the rock like he's been running it, and hopefully we get back our 2 edge rushers this coming week, I think we can defeat the Panthers.
Okay. Now, as far as
I'm out.
Makes his
Hey, I
statement,
guess-
runs
yeah.
away.
Hey, but at least we got it for the statement, right? I mean,
Hey.
there we go.
Oh,
So
is
I
he
was going to
back for
ask.
sorry
rebuttal?
It's all good.
Sorry
Just-
about that, guys. I'm on vacation.
It's all
Hey,
good, but we won't
thanks
we
for
won't hold too
being
much
here.
of the time. Yes, sir. We won't have too much of the time. Just a quick question for both of you guys. Is there anything you feel like if one thing swings one way or the other way, that would be the difference between a win and a loss for both teams real quick?
Turnovers. For the Giants, is turnovers. Daniel Jones has to not turn the ball over. He shows he has the arm strength. You've seen the pass to Sterling Shepard. Saying you know he's mobile. You've seen him run for those yards and all that. Again, it's him fumbling the ball that cost the interception that it could have really backfired, and luckily they muffed the punt and we were able to get the ball back. But with Brian Dable, he shows that he got some balls though. Going for that 2-point conversion, he's showing us that he's here to win. He's here to play and to win. So again, it's just turnovers. If we could keep the turnovers down, I think we got a great shot at winning the game.
Yeah, and kind of following suit, just limiting turnovers, and honestly, time of possession is going to be huge for Carolina. The fact that they only ran 46 offensive plays last week is unacceptable. You need to be averaging closer to 60, 65, especially in today's game. Got to get that run game going. I'm sitting here saying, yeah, CMC's healthy, but when you're only handing him the ball 10 times a game, that's not enough. He's definitely one of the major focal points of your team. Get him the ball more. And I understand still Baker's still working his way in, but he's got to be able to find DJ more and more. He's got to be able to get Robbie Anderson more involved. So it's just a little bit of growing pain. But again, Matt Rule, he really doesn't have time for this anymore, especially with as hot of a seat as it's been there for the last 2 seasons. He's got to show up. They've got to show out. So, I mean, if they can control the clock, I feel like realistically, I think they have a legitimate shot of taking this game.
All right, fair enough. So appreciate you guys both coming on. I know Ian will see you at least one more time.
Yes,
Wise,
sir.
appreciate your time. Guys, if you have the opportunity, just hop in the comments there and let everybody know where they can find you.
Yep.
We did have one comment here. Need to see more Mayfield to Anderson. Can't disagree with that either.
Yeah, I mean, Anderson had a pretty solid day, 8 targets, 5 receptions, 100+ yards. I mean, Anderson was definitely involved. It's just a matter of can they keep it sustained.
So very true. So Cedric, for our next matchup, man, we don't have either rep. So I thought we would do something a little different. So I thought me and you would just take the 2 teams. You could pick whichever one you want, the Steelers or the Patriots. And we'll just talk a few quick points about those teams. Does that work for you, man?
Sure, man. Sounds good to me.
All right. So appreciate you guys, man. And we'll look forward to seeing you both next week. Of course, Ian, you in a little bit. Enjoy the rest of the vacation, Wise. All right. So, Cedric, I'll let you start off with whichever team you want to talk about. We just knock out a few quick points, who we think is going to win, and keep it moving.
All right, man. Yeah, so I'll just start with the Patriots, I guess. Even though I said earlier, I didn't even watch that game. But, I mean, it's the Patriots. You kind of see which way they were going. They have a defensive coordinator calling plays on the offense. And that right there tells you what's up. I mean, really, they should just stick to what they do. It should just, play slow, grind it out. Get a couple yards here and there, get Mac Jones comfortable. It's funny. I feel like you heard like some rumblings about Mac Jones being a top quarterback this season, but he's not even looking close to it, and they're not even giving him direction, man. The Patriots, they're always going to fight, but I feel like, I mean, they have a chance, I guess you could say, because Pittsburgh took some losses last week. They took some big losses on defense, especially, TJ Watt. But, yeah, I mean, I don't see much that the Patriots could do this week, except try to grind it out and control the clock.
When I look at Pittsburgh, it's a interesting, very interesting matchup, right? Because we're essentially looking at a team who we don't know the status of Najee Harris. Pretty solid. They were able to, if you want to say win the game, they were able to survive. I think that's a better reasonable terminology. They were able to survive against the Bengals, and the Bengals really stunk it up the first half of the game. But then the Bengals got back in it, sent it to overtime. Pittsburgh was able to win it. So credit for the win. I don't ever take away from a win, but I kind of look at that as, are we going to see that same type of play out of Pittsburgh moving forward? Because if we are, that's going to be a problem when Pittsburgh continues to play teams. Now, I will say this Patriots team,
they ain't coming back.
They look in a state of disarray. And honestly, for me, as a NFL fan, I enjoy seeing it. Not for the purpose of hate, but just for, right, they've been the team that everybody talks about. It's been so great for so long. So I'm excited to see other teams start to get to that position where, all right, we're going to do our thing now. We're not going to just sit here and, allow the Patriots to do this. So I think the Steelers go out there and hand them this L and give them 2 in a row. It starts to talk, and things look a little bit different. And we start talking, we're not talking about this team as, Bill Belichick this, Bill Belichick that. We have to really acknowledge we have another bad year from the Patriots. We have to start acknowledging that maybe it wasn't all Tom Brady, but that combination of Bill Belichick and Tom Brady is what made that team work. And now that combination isn't both there, it's not the same team.
Yeah.
You can't blame it on Cam. He's not there. You can't blame it on Cam.
Right. I mean, I feel like with the Steelers too, though, they're in their rebuilding phase too. I mean, they're right there along with the Patriots when you talk about teams where, oh man, this team's going to be in the playoffs this year again, for what the past, I don't even know how many years, the Steelers have been there. I mean, granted, the last few years they've been on decline, but I mean, when you say this is like the bottom of the decline right here, because Trubisky is not, he ain't even a rookie Roethlisberger is what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just saying that because I got Kenny Pickens on my bench in my keeper league, and I'm waiting for him to come out and set the place on fire. I still see them winning this game, but I don't see the Steelers really doing much more, honestly.
Makes sense. But yeah, that's pretty much, I think, where we're at on those teams. So we're ready to hop over here to the next matchup.
Sounds good.
So Dylan's already here. And sorry, guys, I'm going to actually throw Derek in here if he's good with that. I know he can hear me. I was trying to message you, Derek, but I couldn't get the message, so I'm just going to throw you in. If you don't mind hitting the 49ers for us. All right, so let me hop Derek in here real quick. And we'll get on to this next matchup. All right, perfect. Gentlemen, thanks both of you for hopping on. We've seen Derek again. Still not the Bills quite yet, but we're getting there. So, Dylan, we'll start with you since we've had Derek on before. I know you're probably a little hyped.
You hype over there, huh?
Nah. Who's hyped about what? What are you talking about? I'm chill, bro. I'm chill. What are you talking about?
Our coach gave that to y'all, but we'll talk about this game.
We're feeling good, man. I'll tell you what, right off the bat, real quick. The Seahawks could go 1-16. I don't give a
Boo.
shit. We won the one game I cared about this whole season. At this point, we won the big game. We lose out the rest of the year. We get Bryce Young, and everyone is that's the perfect scenario right now. Perfect scenario.
Nah, the Jets going over.
That's what I'm worried about. The Falcons, maybe the Jets. I don't know. I'm worried about that.
You got some competition, man. You may not be picking to third or
This
fourth.
one win really screwed us over.
Yeah, you should have lost.
Should have took the dive there. Yeah.
But yeah, so Dylan, real quick, man, talk to us about what you guys did this past week in your game and how you can basically take that and move it over to this week. And, see what you could do in this division matchup with the 49ers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like there was just a lot of good vibes around this game with the Broncos, right? We had Richard Sherman, Marshawn Lynch, Cam, Doug Baldwin, all these former Seahawks chilling with the Hawks all week during practice, and they're on the sideline. We know how to handle Russell Wilson for the most part because he was on our team. We know how to coach against him. Yada, yada. All these reasons why we were competitive in the Broncos game and reasons that won't translate into future games. Now it's kind of just like, all right, now we're just playing 16 more games. We got to go out there and just find our own vibes now. We're not playing our former quarterback anymore. We have to go out there, really study some game film, figure out what these guys are doing now. It's not, we don't have the edge up because they were our quarterback before. Now we got to figure this out ourselves. The one thing I did like, obviously, Geno Smith came out there and just was gunslinging it. I don't know why. I'm not going to say that first half is something that's going to continue moving forward because we saw it collapse in the second half. So maybe we get a mix of both for the rest of the season. Maybe we just get one game and then we get the bad guy for a whole game the next time. I don't know. We're 1 week in. We have to wait and see what we're going to get out of Geno moving forward. Run game was disappointing, so I don't expect that to get better against the 49ers. I mean, the Broncos defense is okay. 49ers is obviously better, so we're going to have to find some magic maybe with Kenneth Walker coming back. That's something that's possible, but he's still recovering from a surgery he just had. On the defensive side of the ball, Nwosu showed up. He was our new addition. He was great. I love our big guys up front still. The 49ers are down Eli Mitchell, one less guy to worry about in the run game, but now we have to worry about containing Trey Lance. Russell Wilson's mobile, but he's also 34, 35 now. He ain't who he was, but Trey Lance is who he is. We got to worry about a rushing quarterback now. And if our defensive ends like Mafe and Darrell Taylor can't keep up with Russell Wilson at the age of 30 plus, they sure as shit ain't going to be able to hang with Trey Lance. So I'm a little worried about being able to contain the young man, but George Kittle banged up. Like I said, Eli Mitchell. I mean, there's a possibility here if we can contain Trey and make him pass the ball. We know he can't do that. So if we can just contain the man, we could start this season 2-0 somehow. Against all odds, start this season 2-0.
All right. And Derek, from the 49ers perspective, man, if you want to give any thoughts that you might have on their game last week, if you were able to catch it, I know it's not the team you would be most focused on. But since you had a bye pretty much on Sunday, you probably got a chance to watch some of the games.
I sure did.
What do you think they can do? Basically the same situation. What do you think they can do?
Not play in a monsoon. I think that would be a big step in the right direction.
That's good stuff.
It's tough to get a read on who they are. I mean, with that slop fest that they played in, I mean, we all saw the GIF or the video of, all the bears sliding through the dirt or the mud in the standing water. And, I saw the highlights of people going to throw a football and it just slides out of their hand. I've played games in that. It's not fun and it's not easy. And it's not really, ideal to be who you are. You can't even run without worrying about blowing a hamstring or pulling your groin. So I have no idea who the Niners are because of that. I think they're a lot better than they showed. And I don't think that's a very tough stretch for anybody to get to. I've liked Trey Lance. I think Trey Lance has a bright future. But I'll tell you what, man, the fact that they held on to Jimmy G, if he's got one or two more rough weeks in him, out of the next 4 or 5, It's going to get dicey up there in the Bay. The big thing here, this defense is going to be good. They are good on paper. I mean, from top to bottom, from Bosa and Armstead and the guys in the front four to some of the best names in football between Womack and Hufanga. I think I'm saying that right. Hufanga, who filled up.
That's the guy everyone games plans right there for. That guy right there.
I mean, Fred Warner is one of the best linebackers in the game. This team is good. It's just, can they put it on the field? And after this week, hopefully you're not going to have the excuse of playing in just ridiculous weather and on a soaked, flooded field. So really, it's going to be finding their own footing and finding out who they are and playing the game their way.
Makes sense. Definitely makes sense. So, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up, trying to kind of get back a little bit of this time. We've been running a little bit over, which, it happens. But that's what happens when you're talking football, man. Something we all love. But, yeah, so appreciate you guys coming on. We're going to get you one more time here, Derek and Dylan. If you want to, and if one comes available, just let me know. If not, it's all good.
Yeah.
But what we'll do here, actually, with the next matchup, is we're just going to have me and 𝐿aCedric take this one again, just because we have one person that's not really a rep of the team, and then we've got the other person out here. So what we'll do, me and 𝐿aCedric, we'll just hop on this one to kind of move things along, get some quick thoughts, and that way we can get to the meat and potatoes. All right, guys, as I've been advising everyone, just make sure you hop in the chat when you get a chance before the show's over, and just let everybody know where they can find you, so that way, same thing as you saying it, but kind of saves us a little bit of time. So appreciate you guys.
Appreciate the time.
No problem. Let's roll. All right, 𝐿aCedric. So same thing as before, man. The next matchup we have going on here is going to be the Bengals versus the Cowboys. So which one of those teams you want to take?
Oh, man. I guess I'll take the Bengals.
I knew you was going to do that to me. I knew you were going to do that to me. All good, though.
Man, Joe Cool let me down last week. I got him in one of my leagues. And I didn't think, oh, man, they got mollywopped in that first half. But then, like you said, they came back, man. They made a game of it for sure. They have a decent defense, and Dallas doesn't have a quarterback at all. And even if they do get a quarterback, they'll be bringing them in days before. So I don't see how, Cincinnati could lose this game. But then again, how they came out in the first half of last week, if they come out like that, and they let Elliott go ahead and pick up some momentum, and it could turn sloppy for sure. It's the NFL, man, any given Sunday. So we've seen crazier things happen. But I don't know. It'll be hard for them to come out like that 2 weeks in a row, to be honest. Like, I think, they're going to come out mad for sure. They'll definitely be coming out mad, and they'll be looking for blood. And Dallas is a good team for them to be going up against to do that because of the unfortunate, loss of Dak, But, man, it's going to be a good matchup, but I think it's going to be a bit lackluster. And if Cincinnati doesn't come out, ready to go, they could mess around and give one up, but I don't see them losing this. I think Cincinnati's going to come out and take this one fairly easily. So I'm going to say, I'm going to go 21-10.
Well, I'll simply I'll go this with it. I feel like Dallas is in a tough predicament, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a Eagles fan. That does make it entertaining, don't get me wrong. But, when you lose your quarterback with the other injuries that they've had, and yes, this may just be burning my throat because I have to actually speak about this team. But it is what it is, man. It's part of being a professional. I'm a professional. I think they just lost a lot, man. And it's hard to replace that. And then with Dak gone, we saw what the Cowboys have been without Dak in the past. Since he's been there, you can feel how you want about Dak. He's a great quarterback. He's middle of the road. He's not a good quarterback. But the facts show when they don't have him, they're not as good of a team. So without Dak being there, this team is going to be hard to get points. It's going to be hard to maintain things besides a run game. And when you're going to be probably very run dimensional, that's going to allow other teams to say, hey, we got a key on the run. It's going to, unless they bring in someone like maybe an Andy Dalton who was there previously, who has some understanding of the system. I know a lot of people are talking about Cam Newton. I don't feel that they're going to bring in another quarterback that's a run-first guy and more of a mobile quarterback with Jerry Jones. Take that as you will, but that's my opinion on that. So I think we're looking at more maybe an Andy Dalton or some other guys that are out there, maybe a trade for someone that's someone's backup, maybe even looking at someone's practice squad, maybe pulling a guy, because you got to have another quarterback, right? We have to have a second quarterback.
They got Cooper. Don't they got Cooper? Isn't that their backup quarterback? He came in like 1 or 2 games last season.
Right, but I'm saying he's got to have a backup.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
So I'm saying whoever's starting, if it's Cooper Rush or if it's someone they bring in, either way they've got to have a backup quarterback. So you have to go somewhere and find yourself at least a guy that's going to back up Rush and maybe challenge him, because Cooper Rush is nothing special whatsoever. No disrespect to him, but he's nothing special whatsoever. To Christopher Fisher's thoughts, I'd keep Cooper Rush before I'd go get RG3.
Yeah, I feel like a lot. I feel like they're probably going to pull Fitzmagic off his couch, bring him in to back up.
I'm sure he would come. I'm sure he would. But I just think that, you have to get somebody else in, right? And you want to get a veteran because you want at least, if you're going to have Cooper Rush be the guy to finish the season or until Dak can get back, you at least want to have a veteran with him, someone that can say, okay, this is what you need to do. This is what needs to happen in these situations. You do this, that has the football mind at least. If you're going to see what you really have in Cooper Rush, you at least have to go through that part.
Yeah. That is true. Jerry said Dak will be back in 4 weeks, so we'll see.
Yeah, all the doctors and people who work in the medical field are saying 6 to 8. So unless Jerry Jones has all of a sudden become a doctor, which I don't believe he has. Yeah, he's a billionaire, but it doesn't make you a good doctor. I think that I'm gonna say the 6 to 8 weeks that actual doctors are saying. Yeah. I'm not going to trust Jerry Jones to be the one to make that decision or say what's going to happen, because I don't even trust Jerry Jones to make football decisions. So why would I trust what he says about other things?
Yeah, plus you don't want to rush it. What's the point in rushing back? I mean, unless Dallas is up 4-0, which they're not because they already took an L. There's no reason to really rush it back. So I don't see Dak running to get out in the field that quickly either.
Yeah, especially for a team that's not going to be very good by then. So, I'll actually agree with you. I think you said, 21-10?
Yeah.
I'll actually go 24-10. I don't think Dallas is going to be able to put up a lot of points. I think he'll get a touchdown from either CeeDee Lamb or one of your running backs. I think he'll get good fantasy stats in this game. But as far as actual scores and points, I think you're looking at 10. I may go 12 just because they may get 4 field goals if they don't get a touchdown. But I'll give them 13. I'll give them two field goals and a touchdown. I'll give them 13. Man. There we go. But yeah, that's pretty much what I think about that game. If you lose to Dallas in the next few weeks, you should be ashamed of yourself. And that's pretty much how I feel about that. I don't think Cooper Rush is putting up double digits at all. I think it's going to be more so the run game and maybe some short passes that they're able to take and do something with. I don't have much faith at all in Cooper Rush. So just want to make sure I'm clear. I don't think he's going to do much at all.
I mean,
game and everything else.
Crazier things have happened. I just watched the Broncos get beat by Geno Smith. So
yeah, I know there's things a little bit, man. And what I'm going to do here is we're going to actually transition to that. We only have one of the guys on for that game, but it's okay, because what I'm going to let you guys do is, since you are both Broncos fans, I'm going to sit here with my mouth zipped, and I'm going to let you guys talk about this game. If y'all want to talk a little bit about what happened last week, it's y'all.
Let's forget
so
it.
Let's go.
So here's our free therapy session, I guess,
Right?
huh? Jesus Christ.
Oh,
No,
man.
I mean, God, what a 24 hours, what a whirlwind. I mean, obviously, with us outgaining Seattle by over 180 yards, keeping Seattle to only 44 yards of total offense in the second half, and for us just to come out flat-footed like that, couple of time management issues, and that's being generous to Coach Hackett there in the last 70 seconds. But
Oh,
no,
man.
I mean, Seattle did exactly what they needed to do. They pressured Russell Wilson basically all game. I think Javonte Williams had the most catches out of anybody with 11 catches. So I mean, obviously our running backs had to become a target, but hopefully that changes here with Houston coming to town this week. So, but I've had 24 hours to process it. I'm over it. It sucks, but here we are. Now we just got to show that we can bounce back and make something worth it.
Yeah, man. I think what got me so mad, and I put a post on Facebook saying I was looking for a new NFL team. The Broncos garbage, and I meant it at the time because what made me so mad is that they looked so good, but still had like some of the same problems from last year: time management problems, goal line issues. Yeah, we moved the ball up and down the field, but then we couldn't do anything. It's just like play calling just stopped. You know what I mean? And it goes, I feel like it comes from not playing in the preseason. It comes from overconfidence, like they're saying, like it's Russ Wilson's team, Coach Hackett is just a paper coach. And it looks like that. It looks like that until you go and you try a 64-yard field goal. Like, I don't know what the Broncos are doing, and I don't think the Broncos know what they're doing. And I do kind of see a clash of powers between Russ and Coach Hackett, not to stay on the offense because the defense didn't look so great either in the beginning. Seattle is playing a simplified game, as simple as you could put it for Geno Smith, and the Broncos just gave it to him, literally just gave it to him. It's like we were trying to do too many things, and none of them were working. Like we weren't getting any pressure in the first half. Yeah, we came out in the second half. Yeah, Bradley Chubb finally showed up in 13 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. He finally started making moves, and that's great because he did what he needed to do. But then it hurts, when you see Von Miller coming out in the beginning of the game and wrecking shop, because that's what you're going to do if you're a game changer. You wreck shop all game. And I don't know if I heard Randy Gregory's name once, time.
He got one.
Yeah. And then they're celebrating like they won the Super Bowl when they got those few times, those few stops. And it was great though. They did, get the stops they needed to get to win the game. And I don't know, man. It's just like, I'm telling you, like it felt like there's going to be a struggle for power because you saw it. Russ ran up to the line and was trying to get a playoff, trying to get everybody huddled up, and then they called timeout. And I don't think it was just Coach Hackett. I think it really was Russ wanted to get up there and he wanted to get a playoff, and Coach Hackett had his plan and he wanted to stick to his plan, so he finally called timeout at the last possible second. But like, I don't know, man. It's like they gave the game away or something, but like I feel like they needed that though. They needed that. Like we needed that win if we wanted to go anywhere, especially with our division, but we needed that loss to show like both those guys, the whole team, like, hey, this is the NFL. Like fantasy points are cool, but we need real points if we're gonna win games. And then like, I don't know, man, to have 2 fumbles back to back, that hurts.
Yeah. And, just kind of looking back at everything, kind of like with what you said, there were so many opportunities that we could have blown this game wide open. Going back to those 2 back-to-back inside the 1, and it ends up in 2 fumbles. With Melvin Gordon, not going to lie, I saw it coming because that just doesn't change. But with Javonte, I was a little shocked by that. But even Graham Glasgow came out earlier and said that because of the noise that the 12s were making, he was still under the assumption they were running their pass play, so he went into pass block. So that's why he stepped back, and that's when Javonte ran into him. So that blew that play up. But, I mean, there's no excuse for the 12 penalties, whether we want to say, some of them were blatantly weak or not.
Yeah.
It doesn't change the fact that, we have to be able to clean up that part of the game as well. And, with the power struggle, I think it's a lot of, Russ was handing it over to Coach Hackett because he's always been one of those, I'm going to follow the coach's lead. I think it was a little bit of a growing pain as well. It's his first time, and I understand that, again, it's your first time. But Russ is still one of those quarterbacks who's one of the best in fourth quarter and overtime comebacks. I just think that play call at the end could have been a little bit different. Because, I mean, beyond that, like you were saying, between the 20s, we were moving the ball fantastically. Andrew Beck got involved. Albert O was doing his thing. Sutton got his looks. Judy had a spectacular catch on an underthrow. So, I mean, I have faith in the offense. The defense, again, first half we looked suspect, but that second half we locked it down. Mm-hmm. So I think, if we cut out the turnovers, and we just work on that communication a little bit better, I honestly think that we're going to be in a lot better spot. And thankfully we're coming home to a Houston team that, to be fair, isn't 100% up to speed either. Davis Mills is still a serviceable quarterback, with it being his second year. Obviously, we all know about Damian Pierce, and we all saw what they did against Indy. They took advantage. They made the most of their opportunities. They got up to 17 points, and obviously Indy, reverse Matt Ryan it and made it all the way back. But still, it just shows that any team, anytime, they can come back and get those points when they need to. So got to be wary of that. But honestly, I think with another week of everybody gelling together, kind of like with what you said, not having a preseason, I kind of look at this as our first team's preseason game. I'm over it. From here, we cannot afford another game like that. So I'm hoping the boys turn it around Sunday afternoon. Should be a good time. Weather's looking good, so really there's no excuse for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. And, and this game is a bit more important, too, being in the AFC. I mean, there's going to be I feel like there's going to be a lot of tiebreakers this year, and that could be the difference, especially in our own division. But, yeah, like you said, I look at this as like their preseason game. That was their tune-up, and it was an unusual situation you won't really face, the majority of the time, even on the road. Like, they were loud, but they were extra loud for a reason, So, I think that did have a lot to play into it, and Russ came out all week and said he wasn't effective, but he was. You could see it in his play and in his face. But like you said, I mean, oh man, Jerry Jeudy. It feels good to finally see Jerry Jeudy do something, and I hope that carries on. This is a winnable game against Houston, man, and I just hope the Broncos come out and play like that and don't come out deflated from this week, because it's whatever. Move on. There's 16 more games to play, so I'm excited to see how they're going to come out this week for sure. And they came out, trying to do a little something. I want to see Javonte run a bit more, but I mean, I see this Houston team, they're essentially the same as Seattle, man. Mills is a serviceable quarterback. He's probably not as good as Geno Smith, but he is serviceable. And, they have a pretty decent running core. It's not, definitely not top 15, maybe even not top 20, but it's a running core. And the Broncos, they tend to play down to their opponents. So I hope they don't do that for sure.
Yeah, sadly, that's very much been a trend with our team the last few years. But I think looking at the injury report, Billy Tinner should hopefully be back. We'll have Josie Jewell back in the middles. And I think, it was a lot for the rookie Singleton being in there, kind of taking that middle linebacker role, trying to be the voice of the defense when he definitely wasn't ready for it. So, obviously not making any excuses. Congrats to Seattle. They did their job, but now it's time for us to lock it down. I can't expect us to pull a Peyton Manning type first season. I can expect a slow start, but, for us to rattle off 13 straight, we got a lot of work to do as a unit. So,
yeah, and that's going to be hard. I mean, our tune-up, man, we just got to, our first AFC game is what I think week 4 against the
Yep.
Chargers. So
The Raiders.
The Raiders. So
yeah,
I mean, that's it. I don't know, man. That's what I'm looking for with the Broncos, honestly, is interdivision play and see how they play that, because that's going to play into a lot too, man. And if we're not getting those 1 yard line, pushes into the end zone against Seattle, man, it's going to be hard against that front over in LA, against the Chargers. It's going to be hard to do that against the Raiders, So I really hope they come back and they bounce back big this week and they really show what they can do against Houston.
I agree with you all the way through. So it's our bounce back week. Let's just go 1-0 this week, and then we'll focus on the next one then. Can't look too far ahead. So Houston, I hope you guys bring your best, and obviously I hope Denver wins by a decent amount. I'm thinking, give me like a 27-17 game where the defense is complete, get a couple turnovers, and we limit our turnovers. I don't think it's unreasonable. So cool. I know you've been quiet over there, so I think you're pretty tired about hearing the orange and blue crew.
Right.
So, do you want to try to defend Houston at all, since our Houston guy was all talk in the chat and decided to absolutely no-show it again?
Well, I'll say this, man. Houston got up and got a tie last week, right? I think they have a lot of cornerstones. I like Davis Mills. I think, though, I just got through saying something that I think is very important. You guys got embarrassed a little bit last week. And I think when that happens, you normally come in the next week ready, right? I think that's what we have to, realize. You come in 1 week, things are not going well. You lose a game, you feel like you should win. The next opponent that you face is in a lot of trouble. And unfortunately, Houston happens to be that team that's right there on the schedule for you guys. So I think you're going to come out, and I think you're going to want to treat them very poorly, and I think you will be able to do so.
Yeah.
So for me, that's what I feel.
Yeah. That's the hope. We got to have a confidence booster game, especially before our Sunday night debut, even though we already had a Monday night debut. It's a lot of pressure on us, especially with having number 3 at the helm. So we just got to be able to manage it, and I think we'll be okay. And it all starts this Sunday.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, man, I don't think I have to ask either one of you guys who's going to win this game, right? I think that would be –
I think it's a matter of how big of a dub do we think it is. So
that is very fair. That is very fair.
So, but yeah, like I said, I'm going to stick to my 27-17.
Yeah.
I don't expect too much, but I expect it to be a much better showing than what we had out in Seattle. So, and yes, I see your comments over there, Derek, about the Bills Mafia open applications. And Chris, I'm not giving up my orange and blue for anything, especially to go join your silver and black True Alliance there. That.
Then the Raiders lose?
After one game? Dang. I'm not giving you much love as a fan.
Man, we left 18 points on the board. That's all I'm going to say. That game could have been nasty. It could have been nastier than it was. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what the Broncos do from here.
I agree.
Yeah, they wilding out over here, man. They wilding out.
Yeah, Chris and I, we go back over a decade, so it's all love. It's all it is. So.
Okay. Well, Ian, appreciate you hopping on, man. You covered a couple teams for me this week, so for us here at the show and for everybody watching. So appreciate that, man. And look forward to having you on next week as well. I know if I need somebody I know who I could call on to cover a few teams.
Absolutely.
So again, man, make sure you put in the comments, where everybody can find you at as well. Mm-hmm. Appreciate having you on this week. So we're about to get to another actual head-to-head matchup. We have another Rams fan making his debut on the show, and I want y'all to be prepared because there will be some blasphemy spoken on this next matchup. So we'll go ahead and get that going. Gentlemen, what is really good
It's what we've all been waiting for.
What we all been waiting for.
What's going on? How you guys doing tonight?
We doing good, man. We doing good. How are you doing?
I'm kind of sleepy, but hey, I'm good. There's no matchup. There's no headline. My dude Chris, he knows who he's going against. He's going against the Rams. He not ready for us. He knows.
The one that dropped the ball on Thursday night, right?
Dropped quite the ball.
Yeah, the same one. The same one with the Falcons on Sunday. Hey, we know one thing about the Falcons. It started all the way back to the Super Bowl with Brady, and you guys continued that trend of giving up big leads. You're right.
You're not right for that one, man. You're not right.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just had to remind them.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying you're not right.
Hey, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. At least we have more than one person that can catch a ball outside of Cooper Kupp. So,
oh man,
hey,
there they go.
So all we gotta do is put an AJ Terrell on Cooper Kupp, and it's done. It's donezo.
Hey, well, I tell you what, hit me up in the group chat, and we can see if you're willing to put some money on it.
There they go. But before y'all get into y'all's personal beliefs as far as who's gonna win and let's throw some money and all that, let's talk about the matchup. So, Freddie, since you are the debuting brother here, we're gonna allow you to start us off here. Talk to me a little bit about what happened with the Rams last week, what they can improve, and what you feel like they're going to be able to do to get a win in this matchup with the Falcons.
To be completely honest with you, Thursday night showed a couple things to me that a lot of these teams are taking preseason for granted. That a lot of these teams definitely they have the opportunity to have preseason. They need to at least play a game or two so they can kind of build some type of rhythm. Also, I would be foolish to say that by us losing Von Miller, and the others, that definitely was a big impact. Not just Von Miller, but we lost Andrew Whitworth. We lost Darius Williams. I believe we lost Joseph Day. Can't pronounce his first name. Sorry, but we've lost some key additions to our team. It definitely showed on the offensive line where Von Miller was able to do whatever he wanted to. And when losing Von Miller on the defensive end, we lost some help from Aaron Donald, which even though we picked up Bobby Wagner, but we're still waiting to see what version of Bobby Wagner that we're going to get. I will say this: I am nervous about one thing. Is the fact of Jalen Ramsey. Last in the Super Bowl, Jalen Ramsey looked good at all, and when at night he didn't even look better. It got even worse, if you ask me. So that's something that I'm gonna be paying attention to. And if I'm the Rams by week 3, week 4, if this is the norm with Jalen Ramsey, I would consider trading him for a few pieces that you can put around the team, maybe. That way, that's when so he won't lose so much value. So I'm just going to keep my eye on that. I think with them not, having enough reps in preseason, and also them, the Super Bowl hangover, going through the celebration and all that. I think it can do with it as well. Credit to the Bills. The Bills came out there as a better team. They was hungry. They was dedicated. Allen is coming out to show you why he's ready to take that next step. But for Sunday, I think the previous guy said on the last segment, this Sunday will be our preseason game. I don't expect the Falcons to be able to hold it. I believe that the Rams is going to do. Sean McVay is going to do what he's going to be able to do this Sunday. He's wanted to establish the run game more. Want to get Akers and Henderson more involved in the offense. I look for us getting Allen Robinson involved as well, because right now It seems like Cooper Kupp is our only guy, but I do believe that we will see Allen Robinson do his thing. The Falcons are just lost right now. I I don't think the game will be competitive. If you ask me, I'm just being quite honest. Like I'm not even taking a stab at my guy Christian. I'm just being completely honest right now.
All right, Chris. Same question, bro. Same question.
Hey, Val thought we wasn't gonna be a matchup last week either, but we did get ahead. So the thing about the Falcons is they have to learn how to finish out games. This pro read option offense that Arthur Smith put in specifically for Marcus Mariota, it shows that it works. Cordell Patterson had a career day, 120 yards on the ground. Mariota was efficient. And a surprise, like I talked to you guys about Brian Edwards last week, and Zacchaeus is actually the one that stepped up, became that number 2 behind Drake London, who was exactly as advertised. And of course, Kyle Pitts. That offense, once they start to gel more, and they did play together in the preseason, but they didn't have a whole lot of time on the field. So once that offense gels, it's going to be very scary. And my weak point last week was that front 7, and they proved me wrong. They got after Jameis Winston on the D line, and they were able to come up with a lot of huge plays. And I expect to see that same thing going into this week. I don't think the Rams offensive line is going to hold up very well against a very hungry pass defense that they showed that they have that grit and tenacity to try to get after the quarterback.
Can you hear now? Okay, fair enough. So, guys, I'm going to put it to you like this. I know who both of you think is going to win. That's pretty clear. So, in a few words here, tell me why you think, and we'll do a reverse. We'll start with you this time, Chris. Just tell me why you think, or let me phrase it for you this way. A few words, tell me what that your team can do to ensure that there's a victory for them on Sunday.
Well, the best thing is show up in the fourth quarter. The Falcons can play great football in quarters 1, 2, 3, but for whatever reason, when that whistle blows for the fourth quarter, they decide to go back to playing pee-wee football, and that's not sustainable in the NFL. They gotta close out games. They have to learn how to close out these games. Otherwise, it's going to be a long season. As I said, the offense shows that they can move the ball. They can score points when they need to. That defense has to be able to close out those games, especially against someone like the Rams coming in. They can catch fire and turn back into that Super Bowl team last year, and it could be a very, very long afternoon.
Fair enough. Freddie?
Well, my brother, I don't know where you live. You might as well Saturday go ahead and get the liquor store, hit them up, get you a few drinks, because it's going to be a long afternoon for you, my brother. I just wanted to let you know, because, hey, the main reason why the Rams is going to win is the reason why we won the Super Bowl, number 99. I believe that he's going to come in there feeling some type of way, going to have that mindset. We ain't going 0-2. I'm going to come in there and raise hell. I believe that Mariota's going to run for his life because they are going to come from him. Even though we lost last week, I did see some things away from our defense that we can get takeaways, and we did do that against that Bills team. So I believe, going against this Falcons team, as long as 99 on the other side, we have a chance. The offense will find itself, it'll come, but I'm more focused on the defense.
Okay, fair enough. Cedric, any other questions that you have for these gentlemen?
Shoot, man. What do y'all think the score is going to be?
I'm going to go 35-17.
Damn.
And that's being nice.
I think I'll go. I'll see you 35. but the Dirty Birds is going to put up 42.
Oh man.
Oh, see, I'll say,
Hey, brother, y'all not.
we don't even care about
Hey,
QB
bro,
for this game, right?
y'all not even the real birds.
Y'all just like.
And I wish this Cam had.
It's
Hey,
like,
just have Kyle Pitts score 3 of those touchdowns. I'll be happy.
But if Kyle Pitts scored 3 of the touchdowns, I'll be happy because my may actually win this week,
right?
Hey, I just want to say something. Whoever's in this chat named Cav Hatch or whatever his name is, I would definitely love to see who team we root for.
Who you talking about? Hats and Tats?
Whoever's talking in the chat.
Oh, Hats and Tats?
Yeah, Cats.
Oh, yeah. He's a Bills fan, sir.
Oh, he was for a team that's praying and hoping that this is here. Keep praying and hoping that this is the year.
He's already proven himself to you.
Sir, we've done something that you tried. Yeah.
Yeah, he's coming at you. He coming at you with the we already played, and you know what happened. That's how he coming. That's how he coming.
But guess what? Hey, but guess what? Cool. One thing that he don't know that me and you know, because me and you, we won championships, and I think my dude Cedric have too. We don't care about when it comes to the regular season. It's about what we do in the postseason. The Rams have handled their business. The Bills is trying to.
If y'all get there,
yeah, I bet that is the West right brother. You have no news right now with the Bills.
Very true. Very true.
I said last week Mariota was going to throw for 300. He came close at 287, but I think he's going to hit that 300 mark this week, and he's going to put Jalen Ramsey on
the
notice.
Rams,
you really crazy.
He's going to put Jalen on notice.
It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard.
You crazy, Chris, to really think that you're going to put up 300 yards passing on the Rams. You smoking.
And unless Aaron Donald get him some help on that line, it's gonna be a busy night.
I'm gonna watch this game.
Hey, you know what? If we was playing a legit team, I would agree with you. But we've seen Aaron Donald handle offensive lines by himself and take them down. So.
He said, "Legit team." You know what, man? With that, I'm gonna say I appreciate what gentlemen coming on the show. Right?
I can't hear you.
I said, with that being said, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can now.
Okay. I would say, with that being said, I appreciate both of you gentlemen coming on tonight. I look forward to having you both back. In the future where you're able to hop on and talk your teams with us. And I'm gonna bid both of you gentlemen to do. And also, if you hop over in the chat, just put your where we can find you at your different shows, different things like that. So that way, all the people that are watching, they get to see the replay, have an opportunity if they choose to follow the things that you have going on. And I appreciate
one last thing, if I can, sir.
Absolutely.
Chris, if you want to make a bet of any kind, just hit me up in the group chat, brother. Please do.
I would love to, but unfortunately, I'm under contract. I can't make any bets.
Oh, okay, I bet.
All right, gentlemen, I appreciate y'all hopping on. We're about to go to this next matchup here. It's gonna be another bit of a banger here. The Titans and the Bills. One coming off a win, one coming off a loss. But we're going to see what they think is going to happen to their teams this week. Appreciate you, gentlemen. See you back here next week or whenever you're available. Gentlemen, what's really going on? We got the Bills guy who's been in the chat giving the work to the Rams guy in the last few minutes. Yeah. And then we also got a Titans rep who, game probably didn't turn out like he wanted. But you know what? It's one game. You know what I'm saying? Not the season. It's one game.
Definitely just one game. And, of course, it happened the same way last year. They started out with the Arizona Cardinals and got embarrassed, too. And then went on to win 12 games. So,
hey, man, it happens, man. I mean, you can't win them all, right? But I guess the old saying goes, you can't win them all if you don't win the first one for sure. So yeah, it kind of works both ways. So
Right.
Mike, we'll start with you, man. Talk about just a little brief, like maybe minute or two about what happened last week and how you think you can carry things over this week, and what do you think you guys will be able to build on to try to get that win this week?
Well, it started fast. Offensively, kind of mixed in the run game in the past, and that was great. Defensively, was just destroying their offensive line. They had 4 sacks in the first half. The problem is the Titans didn't play the second half. Offense became conservative in the second half. Defense wasn't necessarily getting after them, and they were getting gashed by Saquon Barkley. And defenders, I don't know what happened, but Christian Fulton fell asleep on the backside and Sterling Sharp for a touchdown. So they need to put together 2 halves. They only put together 1 half, and they took an L at home to the lowly Giants.
I was personally just shocked, right? Honestly, I was shocked, even like hearing about the game, because my game was on, but you get highlights, and I normally have one screen where I'm watching my game when I'm at home, and then I have another one set up to watch the other games, just so I can kind of see what's going on with the other teams. I was shocked when I went by and I saw how well the Giants were running the ball and how they were kind of, putting it down. I was pretty shocked. So, man, I think that definitely I've talked about it a couple of times on here already this week, the embarrassment factor. And I'm not saying that necessitates a win, but I'm saying you're going to come out sharp, I feel like, because of the embarrassment factor, because definitely feel like most people thought you were going to win that game. So, my guy, with probably the most dominant win of all of week 1, talk to me, man. What's the Bills? What can the Bills build on? And, what can they bring to the table to try to go ahead and make this 2-0?
I'll tell you what, man. You clean up those turnovers. We were hanging a 50 burger on LA last week. 2 picks, 2 fumbles, and those 2 picks weren't on bad throws. A lazy route by Crowder got undercut and picked off. I need my man in man coverage. I need you realizing you're running through. And he kind of drifted off into space looking like he was sitting in the zone and got him picked. And then, a hot ball in the chest, handing the ball the other way. It's tough. It's tough. And they got 10 points off it. 4 turnovers, they got 10 points. Because that defense a little different this year. Statistically, we were number 1 last year, statistically, but no one really believed that. This year, I'll tell you what, man. Whew. And this one is going to come down to my guys up the middle, my big boys, Eddie O, Daquan Jones, Tim Settle, and Jordan Phillips. I don't know if you guys noticed last week, we saw a little bit of Boogie Basham and Greg Rousseau bumping inside to more like a 5-tech tackle. Von Miller and AJ Epinesa running the outside like madmen. And those big boys up the middle are going to be a big deal because I'm pretty sure the Titans still got that bowling ball of a running back that likes to stiff arm people, Josh Allen style.
Yeah, I'll say this, man. For your defense, your coach is a dog, man. I hate that he got away from the Philly organization because he is a dog, man. He's a no jokes guy. I've actually met him, and I really like his personality, just his fire for the game. And I said, man, I hate that he got away, but it was doing a crappy time for the team. But yeah, man, he's a guy that I really respect, like as a coach, whether he's on a different sideline or on mine, just because like I said, I've met him. I've had a chance to actually have conversations with him about football, and that dude is amazing. So having him is definitely something that changed your culture, and he's not going to have a bad defense, period. No, he's just not going to let that happen.
I've actually been lucky enough to have a couple of conversations with him too. Just off the cuff, candid conversations, especially about culture. And, it's something as a coach personally, coach college baseball. And it's something I'm big on, just flipping the culture on, on a team and holding a standard, and he's that guy. Von Miller came out and they said, what do you think about this Bills defensive line rotation? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be the guy that's out there when you need me. There were a few times in a tight game, he was on the sidelines on 3rd down because it's about keeping it fresh. Because if I need you in the 4th, I want you fresh. I want that dude on the other side looking, going, I am exhausted. Why does Von Miller look so fresh? It is what it is, right? And he is. He's going to be out there when the game's on the line. But just getting that respect from a dude who's been there. He's got 2 rings. He's got an MVP, a Super Bowl MVP, I should say. And I mean, the dude's widely respected, and he's respecting this coach and what he says and what he does in his system and his process, and I love it. And I think, last year you look at the games that the Bills. I mean, I respect the crap out of the Titans. I really do. I hate that I love that I hate that I love Vrabel as a coach. Like that dude, he's got that smug, like Belichick smirk going on all the time. Like, yeah, gotcha. And I hate it, but I love it because, like, I just want him out of the AFC. Go coach somewhere else, so I can actually like your team.
Fair enough.
Oh,
So Mike, again, like he just said, Vrabel's another guy. Clearly, guys like to play for him. You know what I'm saying? So love that you have that for your team as well. I think when you have a coach that people want to play for, I'm not saying most teams don't, but I'm just saying I know both of these teams do. And when you have a guy that people want to play for, you get a lot more out of it than sometimes of its parts. So talk to me about what Tennessee can do offensively to try to attack this Buffalo defense, and what your defense can do to try to attack their offense to get this win this week.
all right. As far as offensively, of course, you got to keep them off balance. You can't necessarily go with be predictable because, of course, first down they're gonna expect you to run. Second down, they're probably gonna expect you to run too. You got to mix it up offensively to kind of keep them off balance, and then, of course, when it comes down to time, have the lead later in the game. If you have the lead later in the game, then you can run the football and kind of dictate things that are going on. And that also keeps the possessions of Josh Allen a little bit less. Defensively, mix things up as well in terms of whether you're going to do press coverage, whether you're going to do man, you're going to have a zone rotating over the top, things like that to kind of give Josh Allen different looks because, of course, he's shown that turnovers can happen. So, to kind of mix up those looks, kind of make him think about those instead of giving him easy routes to have with Stephon Diggs and guys like that. Now, it sounds easy from what I'm talking about, but it's definitely hard to do. So we'll see what happens, but you definitely have to mix things up. And also you have to have another superhuman effort from Mr. Jeffrey Simmons, who I think is the second best defensive tackle in the NFL.
Okay. Strong words. Derek, you ride high.
Sure
Big
am.
win last week. So talk to me about what do you feel. I'm going to ask you this question. What do you feel is something that Tennessee would be able to do to counter what you've been able to do so far and get them the win?
I mean, I think my man said it perfectly. You got to keep us off balance on both sides of the ball. If you get Josh guessing, you're going to start seeing a little bit of hero ball Josh. You start seeing hero ball Josh. That's when you start seeing the ball pop out, maybe an errant throw or two. You got to take advantage of mistakes. If he does make mistakes, you got to make him pay for it. And defend with us on defense, if Derrick Henry gets going, some of these guys, and it happened a little bit last year. We bottled them up. All of a sudden, he hit the home run. Oh, heartbreaker, right? How do you hit the home run? We overcommit. You're so worried about getting to him, so worried about blocking him, or beating blocks and getting to him. 1 foot in the ground, hit a hole. See you later, because everyone was sucked in. You got to stay balanced. You got to stay back. And if they can shake that, if they can keep us off balance, and you know what, use Tannehill's athleticism. I mean, hell, work the kid in too. Get him going. Get him. I mean, that kid's a freak athlete. Was it Malik Willis? I think his name is.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, he's a freak athlete too. Use some misdirection. Tannehill every year for the last 4 years. I hate seeing it. Tannehill burns us on a naked bootleg and just walks to the end zone. Stuff like that. You got to keep this team guessing. Got to get them leaning one way and hit them the other.
And I will tell you this though, Derek. I don't think Malik Willis will see the field this year.
I don't think so either. I really don't.
Yeah. But I will tell you,
Wildcat game plan type thing is all I'm saying.
Yeah, but the one thing I will tell you is that the good thing about this Titans team this year, and you kind of saw a lot of that in the first game, they have multiple weapons you can throw the football to. Last year you had A.J. Brown, Julio Jones. This year you got all those different guys. And you kind of saw that in the first half when they were kind of getting going. And then the second half, they just became predictable. Had two of the worst, probably two pretty bad play calls in terms of the 3rd and 1 with the Wildcat and Derrick Henry, and then the tight end reverse with 𝐿, which I like Chig, but that was the wrong time to use that one.
Sure was. Yeah, listen. I agree with that, and I definitely think you guys are more balanced this year. Not leaning so heavily on AJ Brown. I mean, Julio was great. He flashed this past week on a different team, but last year I looked at that going, I'm not really worried about Julio. I'm worried about AJ, and you guys got more weapons and maybe are more willing to distribute the ball better, and that balance makes it tough to predict, tough to play. It's the same thing the Bills have. Who are you going to stop? We got 9 guys we can get the ball to, top 5 really, plus a couple solid.
Didn't even use Dawson last week either. And by the way, Dawson actually graduated from the same high school I did.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Him, Jalen Ramsey, Derek Barnett all went to the same high school.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to play against the Gronkowskis.
Oh boy.
But it's gonna be a fun game, and this is always a heavyweight slugfest.
Honestly, this is the game I could see the Titans winning. To be honest, I'll be honest with you.
I'm tired of playing you guys. I want to see other people.
Yeah, but this time, hey, we're at least going to be in Buffalo this time. It's always down here the last 2 times.
Well, that's Buffalo South down there.
Oh man, good one.
All right, well, fair enough, guys. I appreciate you both showing up, and like I've been saying all night, man, just throw your information over in the chat so that way everybody will know the different places they can find you. Again, look forward to seeing both of you guys next week. And we're going to go ahead and get this last one cracking up here. Looks like we just have right now at least one team for these last 2 matchups. Because what my vision was get a little bit late in the hour here, so I wanted to go ahead and knock this out. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and discuss what we have going on with this last mess up. And then after that, I'll give you a few brief thoughts on my game with the Vikings, and we'll roll from there. So let me get this going here. Couple of challenges tonight, but we rocking with it. All right.
What's going on? Can y'all see me? Am I good?
Yeah,
am I good?
You good.
All right. I came in shape for work and doing something real quick, and you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna let this gentleman introduce himself. But I'm also gonna say, Cedric, what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna talk a little Eagles. He gonna talk some Raiders. Obviously, we're not playing, but we're gonna knock this out. So I'm gonna let you be the man to ask the questions, and then I'll answer from the Eagles' perspective. Sonny here can answer from the Raiders' perspective, and then we'll rock to the next question.
All right. Me. Well, shoot. I guess we'll start. You know what I'm saying? Darren, you can go ahead and introduce yourself, bro.
Well, everybody know me as Spotlight Raiders Talk. Do cover all Las Vegas Raiders. Big heart, been a Raiders fan since '98. So I've been died hard through thick and thin, through hell and brimstone, through everything that's been going on with this organization. Still was able to rock with it. So I'm good to be on here, man. Good to be on here.
Nice, man. Well, thanks for having you on. Yeah,
I know. I thought I was gonna be on last time, but hey, it is what it is. I'm on here now.
Yeah, we're good to have you here, man. So let me ask you this, man. What's up with Derek Carr?
What's up with him? I'm just because. Okay, I'm gonna make this real. I'm gonna make this completely honest. Yes, Derek Carr had a bad game. He had a bad game. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. He played like crap. But all 3 phases play like crap. Coaches calling was like crap. It just is. It's a whole new regime. This is Derek Carr's sixth offensive coordinator, sixth offense in general in 9 years. So none of these starters played in preseason. It is showed. It looked like shit. Excuse my language if you can't curse on it. I'm gonna say it looked like shit. I mean, it was. But I wouldn't be surprised if Derek Carr bounced back against the Arizona Cardinals. I would not be surprised. And we'll nip all these 3 interceptions in the bud. For real. I mean, we see mad quarterbacks play worse than Derek Carr. I mean, unlike Joe Burrow, just saying, play worse than Derek Carr. But everybody want to throw it on Derek Carr. But I think he's going to be fine. We got a whole heck of a season going on. It's only the first week. I think we're going to gel. It's going to start off slow. It's going to be some tough woes, but it's going to happen. It's going to pick up.
I hear you. So cool. I mean, I guess I'll ask you, man. Eagles riding high over there. I feel like I've been hearing it from all over the place. What can the Eagles do, you know what I'm saying, to keep that momentum and take a game against the Vikings, who are also riding high right now?
Well, the first thing I'm going to say is if we play defense like we did against the Lions this past week, we're going to take an L this week. You don't give up that kind of lead that we had in the fourth quarter, right? You don't do that when you have what's supposed to be a very good, top defense. So the defense has to be better. I think play calling is a big piece of that. I'm very concerned with Jonathan Gannon. I have been concerned since he's been the defensive coordinator. Last year, the defense turned around when the players was basically like, bruh, your system sucks, and you have us playing like garbage. Fix it. And that's when we finally started being better on defense. So hopefully that doesn't have to happen again. Hopefully it's just a matter of the Lions are actually better than advertised. But the Vikings, man, after what they did last week to Green Bay, I just want Vikings fans to understand that we have the weapons and our quarterback will throw to the weapons. You got a part of the fan base that doesn't believe that, but as far as I'm concerned, they can all kick rocks and find another team. You don't want to support who's here? Bye. We don't need you. We'll have enough bandwagon fans as we win some games that'll make up for you. But I just think the main thing is we have to use all the offensive weapons more. We ran the ball a lot better than I anticipated this past week. But Hurts has got to be able to not just hit Brown, which he had some plays to other guys, but he's got to spread the ball around. And if they come into this game with that mind state, like, let's take Brown away, we've got to be able to say, all right, let's use the other weapons and let's not try to just key in on A.J. Brown and lose all these other weapons that we have as well, which I think they will do. They gave A.J. Brown a lot of soft coverages, which I don't really understand why the Lions did that. He made them pay. If it's not him, maybe it's Devontae Smith, maybe it's Quez Watkins, whoever it is, make sure you get the ball to the open guy and make the play.
All right.
Can I piggyback on that? Because that's how I feel about Derek Carr and Devontae Adams.
I was about to ask you that. I was about to ask you that.
Even though that Devontae Adams had 10 receptions for 147 yards and a touchdown, yeah, that's a great debut. But he was targeted almost 20 times. You can't do that. Knowing that you have a 1,000-yard receiver, a Hunter Renfrow, and then you have Darren Waller that's a top 5, arguably a top 3 tight end in this league that just got paid. So Josh McDaniels, he's going to have to show that Derek Carr, listen, you got to spread the ball. Understand that chemistry you had in college is still there. You can see it technically on the field, no matter if he's covered or not. Devontae Adams is going to get the ball. But we have 5 running backs on the roster. We only ran the ball 13 times. We just can't focus on Adams. We just can't.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's what I was gonna come back and ask you. What can the Cardinals do, or rather, who should the Cardinals focus on besides Adams on that offense over there? But I guess you just answered that.
Yeah, I kind of did for you, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I think the running backs should be the key in this game. There's no way that Josh McDaniels ran the ball 13 times the whole game when he was averaging 5.7 yards a carry. I just don't understand your logic there, Josh McDaniels. I just don't. No, Josh, you only gave Josh Jacobs 10 carries. He's not a 10 carry type of guy. even though that he's injury prone. Don't get me wrong, the last 2 years, but you got 5 running backs in the depth chart on a 53-man roster. Utilize them. Simple as that. So if it's going to come down to the Arizona Cardinals trying to weigh in on Devontae Adams, and you got good pass rushers on your defensive side, what you should have did last week against Bosa and Mack is run some halfback screens. We got them running backs for a reason. Amir Abdullah, he's that type of guy that catch a halfback screen and can take it for 80 yards when he's healthy. So running backs got to really be focused on against this Cardinals this week.
I hear you there, man. Cool. So on the flip side, man, what do you think the Eagles can do to slow down Jefferson?
So we can't. I'm gonna be real with you. Here's the problem. We had an opportunity to draft Justin Jefferson. He wanted to be a Philadelphia Eagle, and we drafted Jalen Reagor instead. So the problem when you do stuff like that, right? Idiotic things like that, that's like a perennial chip on that player's shoulder every time they play you. Straight up, if we can hold Justin Jefferson to under 125 yards, I will be happy. Yeah, we got James Bradbury. Yeah, we got Big Play Slay, but they'll move him around. They'll get him in situations. If you notice, they've been doing it since last year, actually since the year before when he was drafted. They will put him in situations where he's going to have a favorable matchup. For us, that's going to be obviously putting him in the slot. Times where maybe Bradbury's out for a play or two. Times where maybe Slay is out for a play or two, because we do have to rotate those guys sometimes as well. They're going to pick their spots and they're going to put him in positions where he's in winnable matchups or he's running routes that he can win most of the time against our corners. So Justin Jefferson is going to be a bane in the side of the Philadelphia Eagles every time we played him for his whole career, because we made a stupid mistake and didn't draft him. But 125 or less, and I'm happy with Jalen, with him and what he can do. I'm not worried about Jalen Reagor whatsoever, because all you got to do is leave him open, let him throw him the ball, because he's going to drop it. But yeah, Justin Jefferson's going to burn us. Just hopefully we can keep it low, because we just gave him the motivation.
Okay. Darian, man, I got another one for you, bro. I was going to say, so what do you think is going to be the key play of the game, and who's going to make it?
The key play of the game.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Chandler Jones. He's going up against his old team against Arizona. You know, he left that team in free agency, and Chandler Jones didn't have a great game against the Chargers last week. I think he bounced back. I think he gets, I'm going to make a bold prediction, but I think he gets 3 sacks in this game.
Ooh.
Even though Kyler Murray is mobile, completely understandable, but Chandler Jones knows who Kyler Murray, what type of quarterback he is. So I can see Chandler Jones coming out there and getting 3 sacks. That's going to be one of our, and then the last sack would be the game that we sealed the deal.
I'll say one thing about the game, because I did catch part of that game. Kyler Murray doesn't always take the right hole when it opens up for him. So if he messes around and misreads the holes like he did a couple of times this past week, it's going to be ugly for him.
Yeah.
I can see that. But I don't care for the Raiders. No. Nah. Cool.
So I mean, the league don't care for us, you know?
Or us.
Hey. Y'all got a recent Super Bowl while we still getting beat by index cars and ill-advised whistles against the Bengals last season. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but we kind of just, you know what I'm saying? We just hit that right, like, fire button. Like, you remember playing NBA Jams? When you do hit about 5 or 6 jumps in a row, we just got on fire at the right time. The league was not trying to give us that. We just kind of, you know what I'm saying?
So cool. What you think the score will be?
Score-wise, I'm going to say 35-30. Philly.
It's a close one.
Yeah, we're gonna be in close games this year, man. I've just, you know, for what I've seen so far, I feel like we're gonna be in close games. So, you know, we're just gonna have to learn how to bleed the clock at the end of the game. use all the running backs and the quarterback that runs that we have, and just eat up clock when we get to the end.
I hear you. So Darian, last words, man. What do you think the score is going to be?
I think the Raiders bounce back. Yeah, we win this game 27-21 Raiders.
That's a close one.
There's gonna be a lot of close games in the middle in the beginning of the week due to the fact that everybody has not played. The majority of the starters that played in preseason, so now they're getting those reps and they're getting used to it. But most defenses ain't gonna look good the first couple of weeks due to the fact that nobody really played in preseason, basically. So, gotta do what we gotta do.
I hear you, man. Any last thoughts? Cool.
Fly, Eagles, fly, man. Go out here and beat these daggone Vikings, man. I mean, Justin Jefferson going to do his thing because we gave him the reasons to. But at the end of the day, I feel like we had a close game. We should be a little bit embarrassed. I feel like the Vikings are kind of fat and happy. They got their big dub against Green Bay week 1. They're kind of feeling themselves. Last time I checked, they still got Kirk Cousins at quarterback. They still got a running back that likes to wear his street clothes half the season as well. So, hopefully – we can go in here, do what we need to do, and get us a win. I'll take 5 points. I'll take 3 points. I'll take 1 point. I just need to come out with a dub, and I'm happy.
I hear you, man. Any last words from you, Darian?
Just win, baby. You know how that goes. Just win, baby. That's all I really care about. If you give me the effort, listen. If you give me the effort, if we lose by 1, I'll take that. But we're not going to lose by 1. We're going to win 27-21. And we're going to go in there and get on Kyler Murray's behind, and we're going to do our thing. So I mean, it's just win over here, man. Commitment to excellence. Got to keep working at it.
Absolutely, man. And the thing is, if you're a fan of the teams that we're playing, if you're watching this and you're like, well, why is it just them? The reason it's only just us is because other 2 people decided not to show up. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, whether they show up or not, the game's going to happen. And I feel like the 2 teams that you see right here represented is going to be the 2 teams that win. That's why the other 2 people didn't want to show up.
Hey, cool. You sure you want that rematch from last year, man? With that rematch?
Hey, man. I want all the smoke. Bring it all.
We see y'all in 4 years. We see y'all in 4 years.
I want all the smoke from everybody. Bring it. Whether you beat us last year, whether we beat you, I want all the smoke.
I like that. I like that, man.
Yes,
so
sir.
We'll see y'all in 4 years. Absolutely. See y'all in 4 years.
Maybe before then. Maybe we see each other.
The way the NFL is, you never lie. You never know. You never know.
You never know.
We might see y'all on the boat this year. I mean,
I don't know about that.
I ain't trying to.
I don't know.
Hey, listen, I'm just trolling. I'm just trolling.
You got to come out the division first.
Sometimes you don't have. Sometimes you don't have to go out the division. Look at the Giants twice. I'm just saying.
That's true.
You don't have to be. You don't have to be the king. You don't have to be the kings of the division to win the whole thing.
They could send 3 teams. Hell, all 4 teams from a division go.
Listen, all 3 teams could go, but the donkeys. I'm sorry.
All right, man. On that, we're gonna have to. You have a great night. You can leave your links in the comment, bro. Let everybody know how to reach you.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all for having me. Peace out.
Hey, appreciate everybody. Appreciate everybody watching this week, man. We went a little long. We're gonna clean it up a little bit, get a little bit shorter for y'all moving forward. But the main thing is, man, we got through the teams. We talked about everybody. That's the point of the show. Shout out to everybody who was on. Everybody did multiple teams. Everybody got on. No, a couple of people had a little technical difficulty or so it was stated. So it's all good. You'll see some different faces moving forward, but you'll see a lot of the same faces that you come to know and love. So y'all be ready next week. I want to shout out, as always, my co-host Cedric, man. Y'all don't understand this brother does a lot to help us just as far as being on, keeping everything moving. You might not see everything, but 2 is definitely better than 1.
Hey, thanks for having me on, man. Always a pleasure.
No problem. Y'all check us out. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. affiliate links as well. A lot going on with the play callers and the NFL matchup madness. Be back next week. We growing every week, and we out.